From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to NintenDomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week in NintenDomain, we got Shake here to talk to us about Capcom Fighting Collection 2, Killer Instinct Gold, and what are some of the best fighting games that have come out on the Switch.
Either this mansion is bugged or I'm getting Majoraed.
I'm sitting pretty.
Welcome to NintenDomain Podcast, episode 472. Your place to hear Nintendo fans talk about the upcoming Switch 2 and how the Switch is still getting great games, even now. And we are your hosts. I'm Trey Wang Tang Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Groundhog Day 149 Mikowski.
I'm John Ready to Rumble Knitter.
And this week we have a special guest with us.
I am Shake Daigo Parry of Wagglefest.
Nice.
Welcome back.
It's great to have you on again. It's been a bit. I mean, I think I don't know when we talked on this show last. Probably like towards the end of the year or something like that. But we talked to you on the Twitch stream and whatnot. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Switch 2? Have you been able to pre-order one? Like, what's your excitement level?
I am super excited about Switch 2 for a variety of reasons. I think that it is exactly what we wanted from Nintendo. I think the hardware looks really sleek. I think all of the impressions that I've seen from folks that have gone to one of the Nintendo experiences, it's been overwhelmingly positive. I was not surprised by the price point either. You know, I think considering what the tech actually ended up being, I mean, the fact that it was $50 more expensive than most people anticipated, I'm like, that's not a deal breaker. I'm super stoked. I was getting really antsy, man. Like, I was anxious on when the pre-orders went up on midnight, whatever day that was. I could not get one. I was on FaceTime with a bunch of my friends, and they were securing their Switches, and I was not. And I was like, what in the world was going on? And then when Walmart did the second round of pre-orders, because there is no Walmart in the 5 boroughs, and because it was like basically region based, I was asked out. Right. So like, what's gonna happen? And Trey and I even talked about it, and he was like, he was able to walk into a GameStop. I was completely just like, what in the world is happening?
Yeah, well, one in I mean, I was working on a job in Wisconsin in Green Bay, so I walked into a GameStop in Green Bay in a mall, so I basically have to go back to Green Bay to get the Switch. But I mean, it was, you know, it was like, you know what, it's either I get it or I don't get it. So that's basically how my thought process was there. So I'm like, I can either reserve it here where they have all of them. You know, I happened to just walk right in, right after 15 minutes after they started selling them, I guess, like right after I got off work. And
yeah, you made the right choice.
And I was like, well, yeah, no, I'll reserve it.
It was meant to be.
And, I'll just drive up there, Wednesday night, because they said they'd have a midnight release, and that seems to be the thing. So I got lucky, and it was really weird because, I don't think they had sold any when I walked. I just came right off work, and I was like, where's the closest GameStop? And it was in like the Green Bay Mall, and there you go. And I was like, I was so surprised that there was no line. There was like nobody there. There was like a couple people like right after me came in and just said, give me a Switch pre-order. Everybody was like super chill about it. Like there was no like whatever. But yeah, but that's that. It's been different for everybody. We all kind of dealt with the same like nightmare of the whole like staying up and trying to do it. And I was pissed too because I had to be up at 4 a.m. for the job I was working on. And I'm like, can you just tell me that they're all gone? Because I'm just tired of just sitting here just in this fake line or whatever. But did you try to go around to any of the GameStops or are there?
I
Or are there by you?
So there is a GameStop less than a mile away, and I wish, well, because I had like a work meeting, I had to be on a Zoom at 10 o'clock in the morning when the store opens up. So that was another missed opportunity.
Mhm.
And just to go into detail a little bit about that night, like the initial pre-orders, I had the Best Buy app open. I had Best Buy open on my laptop. I had Target open. I had everything. And it was the craziest thing because when I say it was a shit show, it absolutely was so difficult and infuriating. So like at Target, now mind you, I have a Target Red card, all of these things, right? It's in my cart and I've ordered from Target before. But for whatever reason, every time I tried to check out, there was something wrong with my address. It was like all the things that would typically function. And I'm like, if I were trying to just get like paper towel, would this be happening right
Right.
now? And Best Buy, I swore up and down. I was like, there's got to be a benefit for like Best Buy reward members or whatever. Not at all.
Yeah,
I
right.
legitimately waited for 2 hours. But to answer your question, a week ago, I finally got the invite from Nintendo.
Oh shit,
Oh,
you did?
so you went the
Oh,
Nintendo route.
Yeah,
you
like
were the first one on this show. I mean, it's mostly just been us that we've been talking.
You're the
but
first person I've talked to.
first person, yeah, I've actually spoke to that has gotten one. I mean, I've seen them online,
Oh,
but
Bigfoot is real.
but yeah, it's like it's like you actually. So I mean, so you went for that. It's supposed to. They're supposed to tell you whenever they ship it, right? Did they give you what did they tell you?
So there is confirmation. Like once you get the shipping confirmation through your email, it says shipping by June 4th.
Okay,
Okay.
And
All
I
right.
even opted to pay more for like the next day shipping. So
Sure.
I'm legitimately hoping that, Nintendo probably ships out on June 3rd so that if you do next day shipping or whatever the case, maybe you can actually get it for launch. And I also thought that language was pretty interesting because it wasn't shipping on June 4th. They said by June.
Hmm.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Maybe
Yeah.
you get it before.
Were you able to get the GameCube controller, or did you try to get that?
I did get, and actually, I got the GameCube controller because, like, you just needed to be an NSO member. So when that went live,
Okay.
I actually went into the queue. I actually ended up like dozing off. I took like a 20-minute nap, woke up, and like when I went in my phone,
Hmm.
I actually was able to purchase it, and I was like, okay. So that was pretty funny.
So you didn't get like because you bought your Switch 2 through or through Nintendo anyway. Did you get any kind of special privilege for getting the GameCube controller? Like, were you part of that window of
I don't think
days before
so.
the 13th?
I don't think so. Like I just remember watching so I actually put the Twitter notifications on for Wario 64, Jake Randall, all of those guys, right? And once they said that the N64, I mean the GameCube controller went up, I just logged into my account and I was like, let me see what happens. And then and honestly, I was actually very pissed that I was like, I'm getting the controller and I don't have the system yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm in that boat. Yeah, I've got 2 controllers and no system. So
Yeah, I was wondering
Yeah.
if the invite had come, if it had come like before or after. But I guess you got it after you got the GameCube controller. So they're still sending them out. There's still hope, right?
There is still hope. So interestingly enough, one of my really, really good friends, he's a content creator on YouTube as well. So shout out to Brooklyn Wolf. He kind of highlights a lot of like high-end collectibles and stuff. I can't remember what those figures are, but the 6 scale, like super movie looking toys, hot toys, actually. Anyway, he was away in China and he was able to secure somehow. I was like, how are you securing like a Switch 2 while you're on vacation? He got the invitation from Nintendo before I got it. I'm like, what in the world is happening? You're halfway across the globe, bro.
Maybe because he's closer to Japan.
yeah, the email just got there faster.
Sure.
Maybe. But he got it days before. Like I got my invitation legitimately last week, Wednesday. He had gotten it the week before that. And I was like, what in the world? So it was just pretty funny. But depending on when Nintendo ships the Switch 2, I think I'm going to actually try to secure another one because I'm sure that I have local friends who will want it. And the demand is just going to be so high, they're not going to be able to get it. So hopefully I get the Warp Pipe Pass, or maybe I can go to GameStop on the 4th at 3 p.m., do another pre-order and just safely have one, not for the purposes of like trying to price gouge, but actually just if someone needs one,
Yeah.
you know.
It's very
There
kind
you
of
go.
you.
Yeah, I was curious because I hadn't heard from you about the invite yet, but yeah, I was wondering because there's been obviously as we kind of figured in the news, it's been like all right, well Target's going to get some more, GameStop's going to get some more, Best Buy's going to get some more. So like there's the pre-orders ones, but there's going to be extra ones now too. So it feels like if you go out and you camp or you go early or whatever, it seems like a lot of people who weren't able to secure pre-orders are probably still going to get some. So I was
Yeah, I
hoping
just
that
heard
you would
Target
that
gonna
you'd be able to
having-
that you'd be able to get something from somewhere because I know like John's been making plans for a long time here trying to figure out like where to camp out or whatever in various places like
So far, I'm at Best Buy, so I'm going to go to Best Buy. I did not get a pre-order, by the way, so I'm going to go to Best Buy, and I'm going to go 24 hours before is my plan because I know people are going to get there early. GameStop they already put out an invite for people to come at 3 o'clock the day before, so 9 hours before midnight.
yeah, so you just
So-
like hang out and buy like Funko Pops all day or something like that while you're
I
waiting.
I think they're just trying to say like, hey, realistically, if you want to walk in and get one, you need to be here by 3 p.m.
Yeah, no,
Which is
yeah.
pretty smart. They're not. They're calling it an event of some kind. You get a free Red Bull or whatever. That's logistically, they're just trying to inform their customers.
Yeah, Red Bull,
Get here by 3 p.m. So that I kind of use that as a measurement to say, like, okay, if GameStop says 3 p.m., 24 hours is like my safe bet. Like that's what I was going to do anyway, but now I feel more secure. If GameStop says you need to be here 9 hours early, all right, cool. I'm going to get there 24 hours early. And I think that is like, honestly, as crazy as it sounds, kind of within reason if you really want to walk in and get one of these things. So
yeah, my plan would be like in your situation, John. I mean, what I would do, I think I said it on Slack, but I would just drive around to all the different places and just see where there's people and go camp where there isn't anyone. Like go and take a look at GameStop, Best Buy, Target, whatever. See who's lined up and go wherever the least amount of people are, and that would be where I would wait. I'd kind of scope it out a little bit whenever you're planning on going out there and just see what's going down.
So as it happens, all of the major stores that are carrying it are within 1 mile down a stretch of road in my neighborhood. So, Best Buy, and it's kind of in the order of the actual opening of the stores too. So like Best Buy opens at midnight. That's, the first physical location in the row. And then it's Target opens at 8 a.m. and then it's Costco opens at 10. And you also have GameStop on the other end, just in case. But yep. So I think I got really, really good odds. And Target actually, the rumor, I don't know if it's an official number, but whoever leaked that they were going to do have extras. They said it was going to be between 30 to 100 consoles per store ready for people to just walk in and pick up.
Extras
That's
past pre-order. That's a lot.
Yeah, like without Target, if you're going to the store, there was no store pre-order, right? So anything that they have is just going to be like, ready to pick up. They said 30 to 100 depending on the store. So yeah, I think I got good odds, along that one stretch, on the low end, using Target's numbers, 30 systems per store. So 30 at Best Buy, 30 at Target, 30 at Costco, maybe. And then another 30 at GameStop. It's 120 within a mile. So on the low end, I think that's pretty reasonable.
And the Costco deal also is pretty incredible because you get a discount on premium version of NSO. The expansion
for like
You
for like a year, right?
Yeah.
So that's good too.
Yeah,
for
Costco
the
doesn't open at
GameCube
10 until 10 though. So that was my original plan, was to go to Costco because I'm a member already, and you get a discount on the controller too. You get $15 off the controller if you want to get the Pro controller. So, but they don't open until 10 o'clock. So I just going the safe route. I'm gonna go to Best Buy first.
I mean, Best Buy is doing. They're doing midnight, right? I guess
They're
they
doing
said
midnight,
that,
yep.
yeah, because that was the one I originally wanted, obviously. Because the Switch one, I think that Jess and I actually went to the Switch. I think we went to the Best Buy that's over by where we live now, like the one on Cicero that's on the south side, or like when it first came out, like 88 years ago or whatever. And I wanted to do that again, but Best Buy did not. Best Buy totally did not work out for me. So whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'm planning on making the trip. I'll do my 3 hours to Green Bay and 3 hours back or whatever. So it's fine. I can do it. I don't mind. I'll do it for Switch too. So yeah.
So I got lucky. I was the one who was actually able to get a pre-order that first night, and it was from Target. My story, and I talked about it a lot more, a couple episodes ago, but essentially, I got a fraud warning from my bank, and I thought that was it. I wasn't going to be able to get it because I was going to have to wait till the next day to call them or something. So I was pretty dispirited, but I went ahead and went through the process of confirming it wasn't fraud, and it went right to the order screen or the pre-order screen on Target.com, and it let me order it. So I was kind of surprised at the end when it worked out. But I'm keeping my eyes open, keeping my eyes peeled to find another one also if someone needs one.
Yeah,
but only online. I'm not gonna go to the stores or anything.
Yeah.
Listen, and the last thing I will share about this debacle, and Jeremy, I'm very happy that you were able to get one.
Hey, thanks.
Best Buy was awful because the next morning, right, I was finally able to get accessories. So I went through Best Buy and, I started putting in the amiibo, which are just so overpriced.
Yeah.
$40 for the Street Fighter amiibo. Like that like blows my mind. If you're buying like this, just like the Street Fighter game without like the extra characters, that's the same price. The amiibo and the game are the same price. It's like, what?
It's not. And listen, I will catch you guys up. I've been amiibo hunting like a madman.
Yeah, you're still in there. I mean, I am too. I mean, I still got this Guardian amiibo waiting for Jeremy here at the that I found. But I still got some. What was it? I got a couple weeks ago. I got the. Oh yeah, when I picked up the when I got the pre-order, I got the Goomba and the whatever's the Koopa Troopa, because it was like still like $14, so I felt like, oh yeah, cool, it's not like $40 or whatever, and I was wanting to get one of those Street Fighter 6 ones, but I don't think so now.
Listen,
with your amiibo, I got this very rare Shadow amiibo that none of you have.
Oh, that's great shape.
There you go. With no
He's
scanner
doing an Egyptian dance.
Yeah, for those listening, that's my Shadow the Hedgehog from the Sonic 3 movie that I found in the parking lot that got run over by a car.
It's my special.
It's a one of a kind.
My special Kirby car that I got from one of those the Japanese machines for like 50 cents. Actually, no, I think it was like $2, but still, it's cheaper than most.
I have a random very goblin from Diablo 3. This is one of the newest finds.
Oh wow, okay, yeah, that's one of the rare ones. I don't think I've ever seen that one aside from like at the New York store, like in the glass case or whatnot.
Yeah, I was able, but Best Buy, awful. I was able to get the accessories, but so you were timed, and not only did you have the timer to check out, but you had to wait in queue for every single freaking item. So,
oh shit, there's a different queue for each item.
Bro, like it's like you got 10 minutes. Okay, you're in queue, and it's like, okay, you finally get this the Pro controller, right? Mm-hmm. If I want the amiibo, I have to wait in queue for the amiibo again. And I'm like, there are 7 amiibo launching, and I want them all. Right?
Wow.
And I'm just like, this is not going to happen within 10 minutes. So I ended up having to make like multiple orders at like 7 in the morning to get all of the things that I wanted, which were the Pro controller, the carrying case, not the just the regular protective case that comes with the screen protector, and the Tears of the Kingdom amiibo and the Street Fighter amiibo. But I was like, this is a pain in the behind. I'm like, this is crazy.
All of the Street Fighter amiibo? Like
I pulled it. I'm in too deep, bro.
You get the card. You get the cards too.
Oh, yeah.
I did get the cards.
Yeah.
Like,
I might get the cards. I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Street Fighter ones, yeah, they're bigger than the Ken and Ryu ones that you saw for Smash Brothers or whatever. But yeah, $40 is, and I don't even like those characters that much. Like I don't know. I thought like maybe I could get Luke because his face is on the front of the game, but I don't know. He's just like a not as cool Ryu. That's like all he is, really. I don't know. But I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that game though, because Street Fighter 6, like that game owns. Like that game was fucking is a great game. Yeah, I'm so happy it's coming to Switch too for anybody who hasn't played it. But it's
That was a bingo mark for you.
It was, yeah, and I predicted the that there'd be a version with all the DLC characters on there as well because
You sure did.
I just figured it was going to happen. And also I played it. I played a good amount of it on PS4, and I was like, oh, I should get some of these new characters, and I was like, no, wait. I was like, you should wait because we're going to get a Switch 2 version, and then it did happen. So, and it's $60 for all the extra guys. So, I mean, that's a damn good deal. So I'm excited to play it, and it'll be fun to play it online.
Well, and it's also strategic in the fact that it's launching with the Switch, because doesn't the third season of DLC start on the same day that the Switch launches with the game, like with Elena?
I know the last character of Season 2 comes out on the launch date of Switch 2.
Okay.
I know that. So they obviously, they had a plan there. So is it Elena is launching like on June 5th, like with the launch of the Switch? And these two versions of Street Fighter 6 will also be on other systems where you can buy like the regular game for 40 or the one with the extra characters for 60. But it's all launching on the day of this release of the Switch. So like they're all kind of, they're setting it up with that, but you can get it on PS5 or 4 or whatever. But it's still pushing it to be like the to go with the launch of the Switch and all that. So why not? But yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of fun to play it online. And have you played 6 at all? Did you get to play it on PS4 or 5?
Not.
No, it's a badass game. It's very good. Like it's a lot of fun to play. So you have a good time with it. We'll have to play online. Try to do some fucking whatever game chat or whatever and see how terrible that is.
It superimposes your face onto the characters.
Yeah, right. It'd be interesting. Yeah, I think this would be one of the few fighting games that John could actually get into, just because. The Switch version has like the Waggle version or whatever, but Street Fighter 6, in the beginning they tried to make it more, playable for people who don't play fighting games. So they basically have a modern mode, as they call it, where where it's basically like Smash Brothers. So you hit a button to do your move, and you don't have to memorize the combos and all that. And that was a whole conspiracy in the fighting game community over that. But I think your moves don't have as much damage if you use the modern mode, just because it's easier or whatever. But they tried to like balance it in there for people who don't want to do the quarter circles and the dragon punches and all that stuff. So.
And is a player in that mode like tagged in some way? Like I'm using tilt controls,
I'm pretty sure it'll say whether you're using modern controls or in the online you could probably turn that off if you wanted to. It's like the same because you can make your own character, and there's the beat 'em up like one player mode, which is really really fun too. Where you can go around and fight everybody, and you'll eventually learn all the moves, so you can create your character however you want, containing like pretty much every Street Fighter move. And, there's you can not play with created character like we used to do on AEW, where it's like no created ones. And, I know there's stuff you can set, like no modern controls, no created ones, or you could just do all created characters or whatever. But, it's a solid ass game. And I'm excited to hear what you think of it once we get to it. But speaking of which, though, what's your... You got all these accessories. What games are you getting? Are you planning on getting for Switch 2 when it comes out from the launch?
I am definitely getting Street Fighter 6. I think I'm still contemplating if I want to get Cyberpunk. I'm really not like a huge FPS person, but I think just like getting it as a technical showcase. What's the racing game that is from Shin?
Was it
Fast RMX or something?
Well, I think Fast RMX was what it was called when it was on Wii U, right? I don't know. This is like the third one. Like there was one on Wii U, there was one on Switch 1, and now there's another one. But yeah, no, I'm planning on getting that one too. It's like $14. Like it's going to be like the cheapest game, on all of these. So I mean, I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer on that one. But I forget what it's called. Yeah, it's something. It's Fast something. But yeah. It looks good.
They're really good with kind of showcasing what a system can do, or at least Nintendo system.
Fast Fusion is what it's called. That's the new one.
And the truth of the matter is, I don't know that I'm picking up a ton of games at launch because I'm going to be playing Mario Kart. Like I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna revisit Tears of the Kingdom because I really want to see what that looks like. You know, and plus, honestly, I'm probably gonna be investing a lot of time in Soul Calibur too. Like I'm so
Fuck
excited.
yeah. Yeah,
Especially with that GameCube controller.
I'm really
Yes.
excited to play Soul Calibur 2 again. I played a lot of that. Played a lot of that game back in the day, and it's gonna be fun to play it again.
Yeah, like and even to revisit Wind Waker, like for the so and Trans knows this about me. Like I was very hesitant to get the expansion pass because I was like, I don't know if it's worth the price of entry.
Yeah,
Right.
you didn't dip in on the 64 stuff on there.
Yeah, and once they announced GameCube, I'm like, that's it. They got me. They got me. Once I saw Soul Calibur, I was like, I'm getting the expansion pass.
You have not only that, but you have all of N64 and Genesis to catch up on too.
And
You'll have plenty.
it's what's crazy, right? Like with the Genesis, I had like the Sega Genesis collection on Switch. So I'm like a lot of those games there's overlap. But I was so surprised when I launched the N64 app because I was like, there's a lot of really good titles here. And one of my favorites was Mario Tennis.
It's a
Like
solid one,
Good
yeah.
tennis game still.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Such a fun game. So I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize. And I'm like, you know what? NSO at this point is definitely worth it. And I'm just like the GBA stuff. I'm like, I love GBA. There was so many good games on the GBA. So,
Plus,
but
the
I'm,
music app is pretty beefy at this point.
yeah.
Yeah. If
The
you don't
GBA is
need,
probably my favorite one.
I'll say you don't need the extra. You don't need the extra for the music app, though, do you? I thought you could get that on the baseline, right? For
I don't
Nintendo
know.
Music.
I thought it was just.
I
Yeah, I guess I don't know
thought
for
you got
sure.
it. Yeah, I thought you got it no matter what. But
Yeah, yeah,
no matter what level you were on, but I don't know.
maybe so.
The
Anyway,
on the Fast series, Fast Fusion is actually the fourth game from this company. There was one on Wii. I missed that. So there's Fast Racing League on Wii, Fast Racing Neo on Wii U, Fast RMX on Switch 1, and now Fast Fusion on Switch 2. So yeah, they're just keeping it going. There's I thought there was only 3. There's 4 in the series, but no, I'm excited. That was actually one of the first games I got for Switch 1 also, just because I got Breath of the Wild on Wii U, so I needed something to play on the Switch after I got it, and that was one of those games. And yeah, I'm curious about Cyberpunk 2 2077. It looks all right. I guess it's like locked at 30 FPS. I watched some footage of it. Like it looks, fine for what it is. I don't know if I want to pay like a full 60 for it. Especially since, I want to get Street Fighter. I want to get the Bravely Default Bravely Default HD game, and I'm also really interested in that new Rune Factory game that's coming out as well. It's supposed to be
Yes,
like
that looks amazing.
yeah, like Rune Factory and Breath of the Wild and all that. Which I mean, I was excited about that game before it was a Switch 2 launch game. But Marvelous is actually they're putting their whole games on the cards and all that, so it seems like they're doing the right thing there. So I'm really interested in that, but I've seen no impressions of it yet, so I'm kind of waiting to see what people think of it. But I thought that'd probably be what I would do. I don't know, but yeah, we'll all be playing Mario Kart, of course, Mario Kart World and all that, and hopefully we'll all get to play together. So
Yeah.
we'll have to do some sort
And Soul
of
Calibur too.
we'll have to do some sort of a game chat stream thing. I was hoping to do it at least like, just to see how it works or how well it works or bad it works or whatever, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably not going to work very well, but I can at least try it out and record it. And,
We got to do it for our YouTube
and
channels.
then just, be done with it after that,
Yeah.
and go back to Discord,
there's a decent chance that I might be swayed on launch day to pick up one of the cameras because I don't have a camera. And
What do you use?
$55 honestly is like
What do you use right
Not a
now?
whole lot.
Your iPad? Like, what is your camera for
iPad.
this? Okay.
You've got the whole Apple ecosystem going.
I got the Apple ecosystem. Yeah, I think $55 is like a pretty cheap price for one of those cameras. So I could be swayed.
Probably what I paid
If I
for
see it
these
there, I'll probably
for
pick it
these cameras for the whatever the Logitech that I have. I think
I need to get that
something like
adapter
that.
Trey got.
Yeah, I just got a. Well,
USB A to C.
yeah, I just got a little Well, no. What did I get? No. Well, what I was getting. All I got was just a little tunnel thing that's just 2 USBs, because I was just going to use my USB A to C that I use anyway for my leverless, and just plug that in and just plug that into the to the USB for
Extension
my
cable.
camera, and then there we got it. So
I wonder though, like you know how the camera can pick up multiple faces and all that. Is that inherent to the camera, or is it inherent to
software.
the Switch 2, the software?
we'll
it's
find
definitely
out
software.
who can
You say it's the
say,
software,
right?
Jeremy?
I say it's the software because I don't believe that Piranha Plant camera is like some special technology.
That's a good point. Yeah, the cheap little camera.
Yeah, right. The Hori one. I mean, I think they're all kind of cheap cameras, but whatever. But we will see.
It is funny that for so long cameras were built in and they got rid of it for one generation. Now they're like, camera's back.
Now you got to buy it separately. Well, yeah, because we had. Did we have a? I mean, yeah, we had a camera on the fucking Wii U. We had a camera on the Wii U. We got the 3DS
Starting with
camera,
the DSi.
the DSi. Yeah.
Game Boy camera first. But
Well, the Game Boy camera, you had to buy that, but it's like, yeah. But now we get to do it again. And yeah, the microphone. We had the microphone on all the Wii U.
in a manner of
the Wii U
speaking, there's
had
a
it.
camera on the Switch, but it's an IR camera.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. Doesn't do anything.
You can see IR and that one, whichever it was.
The piano
Cardboard game.
You
The
need
cardboard.
it. You need it for the
Labo, that's
piano
what it's
for the
called.
piano cardboard game.
Yeah.
And it was pretty fun to do like the remote thing with the Predator Vision and all that. It was also the Labo thing.
Made the cats look real scary.
Yeah. So yeah, there was that.
We have a comment from our Facebook group. Do you want to read that?
Yeah, I did one. I was trying to find a way to segue to that. Yeah. So actually, this was a direct message from Facebook. But yeah, we got a long-winded message here, and I always like it when people send us messages, so I'm going to read it. And this message comes from Ray S. And Ray says, I originally came to your channel from listening to St. John's channel, Nerd Noise Radio. I live here in Des Moines, Iowa, too, and met John Wedgeworth before he became St. John at a Noobs and Pros get-together years ago. After coming to your channel, I went all the way back to episode 43 at the start of the Switch coverage. I enjoyed the 300th episode with guest comments and feedback, but I missed the chance to submit anything since I was not yet caught up by the time the episode aired. Not blaming you for that. That's on me. Also, yeah, I wouldn't have even known to ask you to comment on that episode because I didn't even know you. Between Nerd Noise Radio and NintenDomain, it's been hard to keep up all the time. These are exciting times leading up to the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. Happy to hear that almost all of you got a pre-order in on the Switch 2. I'm sure you'll be able to get one on launch day somewhere. There are several GameStops.
Thank you. I appreciate the well wishes there. Thank you.
I do too.
There are several GameStops in the Des Moines area, but only one midnight release for Best Buy, so who knows? Maybe I'll run into St. John there. Thanks for listening to me, Ray S. And
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
the-
listening to us.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening, Dustin. Thanks for your message. You know, it's good to hear from people and their experiences listening to us. You know, 'cause sometimes we do the show and don't hear from people, and you know that's all fine and nice. But it just like everybody who sends in a message like this, a nice heartfelt message, keeps us going
And
for
St.
another
John is a
week,
good
month, year. So
subject
thank you.
to bring up because St. John's one of our favorite people for sure.
Yep, he's a good
That's
reference.
I think.
yeah, and Nerd Noise Radio. For anybody who hasn't heard us talk about it, it's a great show about video game music, which I love. So, and I've been on there a couple times as well. So, check it out. But on that note, why don't we talk about Capcom Fighting Collection 2? I mean, you've been playing it, right, Shake? It's a shame we have not been able to play each other. When it launched, you texted me about it. We lost power at our house for 5 hours on Thursday night. It was fucking stupid. There was a crazy crazy storm here in Chicago. Apparently, a lot of places lost power, but this is the most we've lost. Like we lost power once here, like 20 minutes, like for like the 2 years we've lived here, or almost 2 years, whatever. And we lost power from like 8:30 to 1 a.m. So
were you able
It
to
sucked.
launch the game at the time that it was supposed to launch? I know you preloaded it, but were you offline, like, because it has to do the check or whatever? Were you able to play the game that night?
So I preloaded it. Yeah, I preloaded a week before, obviously, because I've been very excited about this game. But I used my phone as a hotspot to connect the Switch to it, just to get it running. But I can't play it. I can't play it with my leverless or whatever, without the dock, and it's, I had no power. So I mean, I tried to play around with it a little bit in handheld, but it doesn't feel right anymore. Once you get used to playing with the stick or whatnot. So I kind of just I was like, oh, it's there. You know, there's the games, but I really couldn't do anything until like 1 a.m. It came back on finally, and then I got to fuck around with it a little bit. But yeah, I've been trying to play online. Like I texted you and I texted Joe, and never really got around to play anybody. But I've been enjoying the single player. There's a lot of good games on there. But what do you think? What have you? How do you feel about it so far, Shake?
I think Capcom is on a roll, and what they've been doing over the last couple of years is just like phenomenal. Like, I think in terms of preservation, in terms of giving the fans what they want and all of these collections, like, honestly, I haven't even played any of the other games outside of like CVS 2. And
Yeah.
like I look forward to playing Power Stone, but that's like I just want to play that with a bunch of friends. Like I want to play that online with three other people.
Yeah.
So
I
I've just been
yeah.
playing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. I was just saying I got my own feelings about Power Stone, but we'll talk about that later.
I just love everything that they're doing. I think that the fact that it's coming in at a budget price,
Yeah,
$40.
$40
You know what I'm
for
saying?
eight for 8 games. That's
That's a
great.
great deal.
That's
And
great.
they great games too.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've added so many quality of life updates to these games that you can choose if you want to play the Japanese version or the American or the North American version. They do these little like it's just awesome. Like I love it. In fact, I just wish I had more of a fighting game community to like engage and play these games more often. Because outside of Trey, like he's the only person that'll be like, "Yo, you want to play MVC?" You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would. I wish. Yeah, I really wish that. I know, like, I try to play. I try to play like Fortnite with Joe or whatever, just so we can shoot the shit about wrestling. But I would like. I would love to play more fighting games too, because I love fighting games. And yeah, you're one of the few people that I know that that wanna play it, and I'm down if I'm available. So hopefully we can do more stuff. Like I said, definitely Street Fighter 6. We definitely got to do some shit on that. That's gonna be a fun one. But yeah, no, I mean this one, like, yeah, it's incredible selection. So you've only been playing two. You haven't even tried. Have you tried one? Because that one, I mean, I think both those games are worth the price of this. Like you could charge like $80 for this game for those two, and you're getting your money's worth. I think they're both really solid ass games.
Yeah, I haven't even played one, and I remember enjoying Capcom versus SNK. But it's almost familiarizing myself with the game because it's been so long since I've played it. Like experimenting with the different grooves, trying to remember like what felt good, what characters I enjoyed playing with. Because believe it or not, in Capcom versus SNK, I really like a lot of the SNK guys. Like my team was always like it was Joe, Terry, and Iori.
Okay.
And
Oh yeah.
I might substitute Ken as my anchor.
Yeah, and they had the two different ones too, right? Because they had like the zombie Ori in there too, right? Like there was a couple different ones. Yeah, yeah. No, I would actually. This was because I played the GameCube version, the EO version, which was a little bit different than this. Which hopefully they add that as well. Because I'm not really used to the ratio because I would always do like the 3-on-3 like on the GameCube one. But this was kind of like this was basically my introduction to SNK characters and stuff. Like I had played a little bit of like Art of Fighting and Fatal Fury on Super Nintendo, when I was a kid. But I mean, I felt like this was my, opening my eyes to SNK. And then when like the Virtual Console came around later for the Wii with all of like the Neo Geo stuff in there, like I like got hard into like the like King of Fighters and Fatal Fury and like all of those games. But yeah, it was like just the introduction of just seeing them on here was a big deal for me. And I always played I played as Joe as well. And what's his name? Harumaru. I played as him too. He was like my main dude from Sam's show. And I think I played with those two. And I don't know, probably like Ken or throw some other Capcom guy in there. But yeah, it was mostly SNK guys. And it was fun to unlock like Ultimate Rugal and was it Shin Akuma and all that.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. It is not, and they're so difficult. When you get to them,
oh yeah, it's rough.
What hell? Like it's crazy. I was gonna ask if anyone's been watching Justin Wong as the Wazzler getting refunds in CVS 2. He goes online as the Wazzler. That's like his.
That's his. Yeah, I've watched I watched some of his stream stuff on the background, or I've watched it on YouTube as well. But yeah, no, I remember him. People were pissed about him beating people down on the Marvel versus collection, right? Like when that came around.
And he is back at it, and he will choose a ratio 4, like Saget or like whomever. And like I was watching it today just for a few minutes. He chose Dan. He had a ratio 4 Dan, just obliterating people online. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, so if I'm correct on for CVS 2, you can choose like that one, you can choose your ratio, but in CVS 1 they're actually like Dan will always be like a level 1, will always be like a ratio 1, and if you want to use like Evil Ryu or like Shin Akuma or whatever, they're like they're like ratio 3 or 4, but you can only use 1. You can't use, so if you want to use like 4 characters, you have to use ratio 1s for the first one, or you can use like 2 2s or a 3 and a 1 or whatever. Like that's kind of what I'm still getting used to. But on this version of 2, you can kind of choose like how like strong you want your different characters to be, kind of, right? Like if you pick 3, you can have like 1 ratio 2, and then the other 2 are 1s, right? Something like that.
Yep. Where you can have a single ratio 4 character and just go ham.
Yeah, that's what. I should have, because you just like hit start after you just pick 1, and then you'll have the higher ratio.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to do a lot more with that, because I've just been fucking with like doing the team of 3, because that was how I always played it on GameCube. So I've just been kind of doing that. But some of that, like every time I get the what's his fucking name, Geese. Yeah, fucking Geese Howard. Fuck that guy. But he's like the boss, or no, that's the first one. Never mind. But yeah, no, you still if you make it to, because you have to, because in the second one, like if you go through without getting any continues or something, you hit Geese Howard like halfway through, right, and then you got to fight Rugal or Akuma, depending on like whether you have Capcom characters or SNK characters, whatever, on your team, right?
There's also like another condition, like if you get like a super finisher, like where it turns into flames, like if you get like 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
Like I think it's like a point thing, and if you get a certain number of super finishers, and I promise you, like the Shinakuma and Rugat, like they're just wild.
Yeah.
But the stage that you fight them on is amazing.
Oh yeah, the fire. Yeah, I remember that. I remember getting to like the ultimate Rugal or whatever on the GameCube one, and just getting like rolled with like every character. And the only one I could beat him with was just I just did Bison, and I just went back and forth with the Psycho Crusher just over and over and over again, and I just did cheap as fuck. And that's the only way I could get through it, but that's how I did it on the GameCube one, because you had to get to him and then beat him, and then he was unlocked in your in your roster and all that, and they're all there on this one. You don't have to unlock them; they're already there from the start and whatnot. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's got still got that killer soundtrack, really really good soundtrack. It's got it's like the 3D backgrounds, like with the 2D sprites on the 3D backgrounds and all that. But I mean, I love 2 so much, but I mean, playing 1, like I don't know, 1 might be better. I don't know. Like you got to dip into 1, because like 1 is like the pinnacle of like 2D sprite art, I think. At the time, there's even like shadows. There's like one that's like an alley where there's like a light going, and you can see the shadow of your sprite like behind you. It's so cool. Like the levels are just really really cool, and it's just and they all have these like really interesting intros too. Like there's one where it kind of makes it look like an old school like arcade racer, and then a car crashes, and then you're in front of the car crash and you're fighting there. And yeah, there's one that's like it's like close up on a dragon's eyeball like in the background, and it's just it's all over the place. But it's really really cool.
I will definitely give it a run. I've just been stuck on CVS, but I will definitely give CVS 1 a run.
Well, yeah, we'll have to play it. I mean, I definitely want to play it online at some point. We have to destroy me on there and see how good I am on whatnot. But I did kind of throw down just like my my basic thoughts on the games that are on there, which I can kind of run through right now. So I never played Power Stone before. Like I heard people talking about it. It's very much, I put in my notes here, it's like a fighting game for people who don't like fighting games. It's kind of what I get from it. It's kind of more of a, I don't know. It's kind of more of like a beat 'em up, I guess, than a fighting game. Because the original one was like one-on-one in a room. You get power-ups. There's like weapons you can pick up and shoot people with. Like there's not really like combos that you have to do. Like there's not special moves. In my experience with Power Stone, it's basically who can get like the super armor the quickest or whatever, which is really annoying if you're playing against a computer, because you get these Power Stones, as it is in the title. You collect these gems, and when you get like 4 of these gems, you become like this super version of yourself, and you can kind of KO the guy in a couple hits with that if you get to that. And in my experience playing single player, it was basically like computer is constantly racing to find all the fucking gems, and I would just get fucking destroyed like in the first few seconds of it or whatever. So I turned the difficulty down, and then I got a little bit farther, but it's still like when I got like halfway through, it's still like race to get the super armor, and then you like do one suplex on me and then I'm out, and I'm like, all right, well this game kind of sucks. So it wasn't really I wasn't having the best of time with Power Stone 1. I think it'd be maybe a little bit more fun if you're playing it with another person and not against a computer. But also, as I've said like a million times on the show, I play this game with my leverless controller here, and the Power Stone is a little weird with that, just because you don't have the regular stick, so it can be a little confusing as to where you need to run because you got to push the buttons or whatnot. So that can be kind of annoying. And I was unable to beat Power Stone 1 just because, like I said, I was getting destroyed by the computer. But I did beat Power Stone 2, which is kind of makes it a little bit more like Smash Brothers Z, I guess. That one always has 4 players going at the same time, even if you're playing in single player. And there's bosses, which are pretty interesting. Like there's big giant bosses that you get to fight, which is pretty cool. And I was able to beat that one, actually. That one was a lot easier than the first one. Maybe because you get a CPU teammate or whatever that can help you out. And I did a lot better with that one. So I got credits on that one. But it's still, it still feels like a non-fighting game to me. It's like, oh yeah, cool. This would be fun. Like you were saying earlier, it'd be fun to play this online with 3 other people, but it's not one, like when I turn this game on, I'm not going straight to Power Stone. It's like, that's not the one, that's really grabbing me. It's like, maybe if I played it earlier, I think it was that cool, but it's, it's not really, it doesn't really feel like a fighting game to me. It feels like a multiplayer beat 'em up kind of, And that's where my nickname came from, is one of the characters' name is Wang Tang, which I thought was hilarious. So I had to bring that into the episode. Wang Tang. I think he's in both of them too. You can play Wang Tang in Power Stone 1 and 2. So there you go. If you really like that character, you can do both of them. So that's that one. And so Plasma Sword, I beat that game. I don't know if you know, but I guess from what I heard just from watching videos, I was on a podcast a few weeks ago talking about the wonderful Star Wars game, Masters of Terrascasi. And apparently, at one point, there was a partnership or supposed partnership between Capcom and Star Wars, where Masters of Terrascasi was supposed to be a Capcom game, which that would have been a whole nother world. That would have been a much better fucking game than what we got. But Plasma Sword is basically what Terrascasi would have been if it was made by Capcom. And if you played both of them, they do kind of feel similar, except for Plasma Sword doesn't suck. It's
so
a lot.
Specifically, are you saying like this was the game they were working on, and then they lost the Star Wars license and they continue on with Plasma Sword?
Yeah, or I guess it was originally called like Star Gladiator, and Plasma Sword is Star Gladiator 2. But if you play Terrascasi and you play like Star Gladiator or Plasma Sword, they kind of have the same like sort of abilities. Like you have like your one button that's like your side, your like your 3D button where you like move to the side or whatever, and you got like your special move. And thankfully you don't have to hit a button to pull your weapon out or whatever. You have your weapon out the whole time. But it kind of feels sort of in the same vein of that game, but if it was much better and much faster and more enjoyable. And I was able to beat that one. I got it all. I got all the way through. Like there's some interesting characters in there. I was hoping you would play that, Shake, because there's a character in there named Shaker. So I thought you'd get a kick out of that. You could be like, hey, Shake playing as Shaker. But but yeah, no, I mean, they basically look like kind of like Star Wars knockoff characters, but you got lightsabers, you can beat the shit out of each other, and
They're called plasma swords.
well, sure, but yeah, they look like lightsabers, and you got your Chewbacca looking character, and there's like a big like robot dude, and you can see your different similar Star Wars characters, or whatever. But yeah, no, I had a good time with it. Apparently, I didn't get the true ending. I don't know how to do that. I was looking at like the unlockables or whatever the achievements on the Switch, and I didn't get the true ending, but I got a ending. And then there's Project Justice, which is what is that? What was
Rival School.
Yeah, I would say because that's Rival Schools 2, right? This is Project Justice. I think from what I heard.
I think so. Yeah, was Rival Schools in the original collection?
No, we have not seen Star Gladiator 1 or Rival Schools 1 on any of these, so that's a shame. I mean, Project Justice I like a lot, but I'm getting my ass beat on that game too. The only two games I was unable to beat, I was hoping to beat all these. Well, beat as in like get to credits, through the arcade mode. The only two I couldn't get through is Plasma Sword and Project Justice. I kept getting destroyed. Like same thing. I get like about halfway through, and then they would just roll me. Like it was the first time I was trying to play it. And there's a story mode on there. You can play as different groups, and see and they talk about the last game and what happened. Like last time, this guy attacked the high school or whatever. And you see them talking back and forth to each other, and I guess there's clones of your characters running around. But I got like halfway through, and and all of a sudden they get really, really hard, and they're just hitting me on every move, and I just get my ass kicked. But it kind of felt to me like a 3D Street Fighter game, and I think it looks cool. But I feel like some of the characters are pretty OP and just destroy the fuck out of me. Capcom versus SNK 1, like I said, the pixel art is incredible. The level intros are really, really cool. It's a little bit it has a little bit of a difference from CVS 2 just because there's less buttons. This one actually only has 4 buttons instead of 6 buttons, which is an interesting difference, I guess, there. But I don't know. I think it looks gorgeous, and yeah, like I said, the ratio thing is a little bit different where they'll put stronger characters at higher ratio, so you can't have as many of them. Yeah, so if you want to throw like a bunch of level 1s, you can have 4 people, or depending on what their level is, you can either have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. And that's the one where Geese Howard is the final boss in that game, and he will fucking destroy you if you're not prepared. If you don't know what you're doing, he will. And you have to beat him twice. Even though he only has to beat you once, you have to beat him twice. You have to do 2 rounds for Geese, which sucks. And he will rip you a new one. So
what a name!
So look out for that. Yeah.
Geese are known for aggression. Yeah.
Yeah.
This, by the way, is one of the personalities of the guy from Zelda Skyward Sword. That was Groose, right? Not Goose.
Oh, Groose,
yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I give up.
Groose. I like Groose. I always wanted that was my Zelda casting, was to have a MJF from AEW play Groose. It'd be good.
It's good casting.
I did a whole thing on Twitter of like all these different people. I want Orange Cassidy to play Link, since he didn't say anything. It'd be great. He's a man of a few words. But yeah, and then Capcom vs SNK 2, as we said, still one of the best games. I mean, on here I said best game on here, but I think that 1 and 2 are both really, really stellar games. So I kind of go back and forth, but they're both still a lot of fun to play. The GameCube version, the EO version, was a little bit different. I'm hoping that gets added in the future, where you can just go back and forth. I mean, I don't need like the GCism or whatever, where you can do the moves by pressing the right stick, but it'd be nice to just do a regular 3-person thing and not have to worry about the ratio and all that. And I think that had single one-on-one stuff in it as well that you could do. And Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper, it's supposedly the best version of Street Fighter Alpha 3. I actually have the TV behind me actually have playing Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper for Game Boy Advance. That was the first time I played that game, was the Game Boy Advance version of it. And it's basically, it's regular Street Fighter Alpha 3, but they brought a bunch of other people in there from other games. I think there's some people from 3 in there. But yeah, Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper. I just remember it had a bunch of extra characters from other. I think there's stuff from people from Third Strike in there as well.
Why is it called Upper?
I don't know. Japanese titles. doesn't make any sense.
Aerial combos or something.
I mean, I never honestly, I never really knew that was the name of it. The Game Boy Advance one just said Street Fighter Alpha 3, and then just an arrow just going around the 3, and I was like, okay, maybe that means Street Fighter Alpha 3 Advance. I don't know. That was the only version I played, and until I saw the trailer for this game, was that I learned that it was called Upper. Do you know why that is, Shake?
All right.
I have no idea whatsoever.
Something to do with an uppercut, maybe.
There are a lot of uppercuts in there. Well, I mean, I guess maybe because it's the upper tier of Street Fighter Alpha 3s.
Yeah, it's like the top shelf.
It's the highest one up there. Yeah, I beat that one. Bison still sucks. If you remember, in the Street Fighter Alphas, they changed the way Bison controls. Where he doesn't do like his Psycho Crusher is now a super move. So if you do like the charge back, tap forward, he throws a projectile instead of the Psycho Crusher. But when he does the Psycho Crusher, when you play him as the boss, he takes like 80% of your life away. Like, no joke.
Oh my god.
So you got to be fucking careful about that. And I actually thought that I had broke my controller while playing Bison. Like, I thought I had completely broken my leverless. I was freaking out for a minute. So I was trying to beat Bison on a Street Fighter Alpha 3. And I'm just getting to the end. I'm like, fuck you, and I'm like just hitting the top of the controller, just out of frustration or whatever. And I guess what happened was I accidentally pressed like just a series of buttons that all of a sudden my movement like stopped working like completely. So I can't move. I can only hit the buttons, and I'm like, oh no, did I fucking break it? I was like, I don't want to get another one of these. And I like closed out of the game. Well, I went to the main menu, and I could still move the cursor around in the menu. And I was like, all right, well, it's not completely broke, I guess. But why can't I use it in the game? And I keep going back in the game. I can't move at all. So I save where I'm at. I plug in a different controller and save where I'm at, because you can do quick saves on this. And I did a save, and then I closed the game. I tried another game. That doesn't work. I reset the system. It doesn't work. I tried on my PS3. It still doesn't work. I'm like, all right, what the fuck? So I go to the website of the controller, and I get on Discord, and I go through all this different shit on Discord, for people who have shit happen to their controller. And it turns out that I accidentally switched the control pad to be the right stick instead of the control pad, and that's what happened. And it's just like you press like start and select and another button, and you can you can make this be like the left stick or the right stick. And I switched to the right stick, and then I was able to switch back to the D-pad. So it still works, but I was like, I thought I broke it for a second just because I was beating the shit out of it, because Bison was beating the shit on me. So yeah, that was my story with that. And then Capcom Fighting Evolution is on there, which, does anybody like that game? I don't think anybody does, but it's there. Have you played this one before at all?
I have never played, but I remember it being like panned when it came out.
People hate it, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's there, but yeah, it's not. What were you saying? What were they saying about it?
I just remember like it getting really poor reviews, because that was a 360 era game, and
something like that, right?
Yeah, like I think it might have been even early 360 era game, so like mid 2000s, let's say 05, 06 maybe. And I could be wrong about when it was released, but I just remember like it not being received well. I remember reviews on IGN was kind of like mid, like 5 or 6.
It just wasn't responsive, or bad characters, or sort of the thrust of why.
It's kind of weird, I guess. I mean, for me, it feels like it's Capcom versus Capcom. It's like, hey, let's just have some other shit in there. But what would you say about it?
Again, it was one of those things that I actually ignored. Once I kind of saw that the reviews were, I didn't really pay much attention to it.
Yeah, it kind of seems like, because you're right. It was like mid 2000 when it was released. It was 2004. Yeah, 2004 for PS2. Well, and then it was on 2005 on Xbox. But it's a weird game, because it's like okay, so here's like there's characters from Red Earth in there, which is cool. That's a weird game, and you got here's Red Earth, and here's like Street Fighter 2, and here's like Street Fighter Alpha, and here's like Street Fighter 3, and there's different ones from them, but it's just, I don't know. I didn't think it looked all that good. It's like I guess the characters, like their sprites are a little bit, have like the smoother line, but like the backgrounds are kind of like are really muddy and blurry, and I don't know. It's a weird game. Like I mean, I played through it, I beat it, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hadn't really heard anything good about it. I'm always glad to see more games on the collection, but it's not really one I'm gonna return to, I guess. I like that you can play. You can play like this giant dinosaur thing from Red Earth. That's kind of funny, but I mean, I don't know. It's whatever. It's whatever it is. And I think you can play as two characters at once on that, and you can kind of just you pick, like when you win the first round, you get to pick who you bring up next by pressing like two of the punch buttons or kick buttons or whatever to switch back and forth. Is kind of how it works. So that's that one. But I mean, as a collection, I think the game is excellent and a lot of fun to play. Have you been trying to like just go down the list and beat it with all the different characters, or are you just using your regular team on there?
I'm going to my bread and butter, kind of just messing around with the characters I liked, trying to remember some of the combos that were muscle memory to the best of my ability. Just refamiliarizing myself with the game in general. But I love it. And again, I think not just for Capcom Fighting Collection too, but even like the MVC collection. I think that like as compilations, there's some of the best that you can get. Like if you're a fan of like 2D pixel art, because that's the other thing too. Like even with Alpha 3 Upper, like to me in some regards, like that's the pinnacle of like fighting game 2D sprite work. Like what they were doing at that point, like they went for the anime style and it kind of had like if you could even call it cell shading with pixel graphics, but like the outlines of the characters were like, you know what I'm saying? It was like this toon element, and I'm just like, all of this stuff is just so gorgeous. Like to see it in motion, I just love the way like it looks. Just it's the visual aesthetic. It's fast. It's over the like I get a kick out of it all the time. Like it's aged very well. Like I think, and that's the funny thing. I think we think about those games and like even Capcom versus SNK 2. It's like that came out in the early 2000s. And that's at a point where like everything is 3D. Like we're like a couple of years removed from playing a Soul Calibur 2. But in hindsight, I'm like, this still holds up so well. So like I love it. In fact, like I'm hopeful that, Capcom is like we'll do a fighting game collection or Capcom Fighting Collection 3. If they could work out the logistics and the licensing with Tatsunoko, give us
Oh yeah,
an H version of Capcom versus Tatsunoko, like
And you made a really good video on that for on Wagglefest that everybody should check out about
many months ago. Yes, when I was
Tatsunoko.
creating,
Yeah.
there's the thing. I'm coming back though with the Switch 2 launch. I promise. I have lots of content. There's lots of commentary. I have lots of things to say.
Nice.
Even about Switch 2, and I didn't really get into it with you guys, but like, maybe later in the show, I don't know. But I'm really excited for Switch 2. I'm very, very excited for Switch 2.
As
Me too.
we are as well. Definitely.
We'll have an entire console life under our belt at this point in the Nintendo history.
The one thing I'll say about Switch 2, and I've been thinking about this, what really makes this system special to me is the context in which it's coming out. We are 5 years into the PS5 and Series X, and I don't say that as a hater. I'm not on some tribalism stuff. But what I can say objectively is that we haven't seen anything, at least in my estimation, that has really been so groundbreaking that it has warranted the tech jump, right? Like most of the major games have been cross-generational. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's God of War, whether that is like just you name it, right? Street Fighter 6 even. So many of those games have been cross-gen, that I think with the Switch 2 being as powerful as it is, and even outperforming, or at least what they're saying in with some of the games like Street Fighter 6, running better than like a Series S, or like I'm like, considering that we haven't seen this huge significant jump in gameplay or even gameplay mechanics or anything that's just been like really revolutionary with this generation, I think Nintendo has a shot to really be competitive in a way that they haven't for a long time.
I do too.
Well, this
I think this is like the
generation,
GameCube generation, like sort of again.
Yeah.
true. Yeah, this
I mean,
generation,
we'll
if you want to call it that, start with your PS5 and the other one, Xbox, whatever the name of it is. It was kind of like a
series something.
It was such a slow starter, all of it, that it was almost like a non-starter. All thanks to multiple things, but chief among them the pandemic and all that. Like nobody could get a PS5 really
A
until
lot to
3
do
years
with,
in.
sourcing parts and stuff.
Sourcing the parts and all that. So, but by then it was kind of like, well, it's I can get it now, but it's not like the new hotness or whatever. And paired with that, there's not really like there wasn't really like a defining. This is a clear, must have PS5 game that's not on PS4 until like what Astrobot, like. So it just felt like
I mean,
really like
Baldur's Gate 3 was a big
Baldur's
one.
Gate 3, you get that on PC, and I think a lot of people
I know,
primarily play
but I mean,
that on PC and all that.
No, you're
but
right
like,
about it.
it was
not being
PS5
on- it's
only.
not on PC.
yeah. So, but like, I think that there just wasn't a clear start to the generation, and so this feels like with the Switch 2, this is the start. It might be it's like less an early start to whatever the PS6 and everything is an Xbox or whatever. It's more like that proper start to the generation that was supposed to begin 5 years ago.
Maybe. I will say, as a PS5 owner,
I say Jeremy said. Well, I mean, Shake, you got a PS5 too. I mean, half
I
the
like
show
my
here's got
PS5 okay, but the big difference with that and the PS4, I would say, yeah, obviously there's some like fancier graphics or whatever, but you're gonna not notice that if you're like playing a game hardcore. You're not like paying attention to shaders and all this stuff. But I will say the loading times is what it's all about.
That's really why I want to see how
But
Nintendo
now
can compare
newer
on that
games
because
the loading times are coming back.
well, I mean, that's how I want to know is see how well, because like I said, I love Street Fighter 6 on PS4, but there were some loading time issues, which I think that was kind of part of why I didn't finish the single players. That going from the different, and there, there's a bunch of different locations you can go from one to another, and you have to a lot, and it was kind of like wearing on me after a while, like how long it took to load on PS4, so it made me want a PS5 because of that, but. I've seen people say that there's quick loading on Switch, but I want to see comparisons between, because I know that was a big deal for PS5, how quickly it loaded with the solid state and all that. So, I mean, maybe with the new SD cards or however they're doing their internal memory, it'll be a little bit quicker. But
I think it has to do a lot with the components that are on the board itself, like the different processors that are going to be handling stuff that normally the graphics processor would be dumping all its energy into. So that's what I mean, I'm not in the software, or rather I'm not like a computer scientist or whatever, but that's just kind of how I understand it. Like a lot of stuff will be handled by other chips so that the graphics processor can just kind of load stuff quick, I hope.
Definitely.
That's my hope. I mean, it's going to be a portable. It's going to be, it's whether or not they want to admit it, it's kind of Nintendo's answer to the Steam Deck, and I think it's going to blow that out of the water because of the IP.
And the Steam Deck was the answer to the Switch 1. So, It's like back and forth from one to another.
But here's the funny thing about all of, like, even the Steam Deck, as powerful as it was compared to the OG Switch, Steam Deck was never intended to be a mass market product.
Sure.
Right? So I think that there's that component of it. I think the fact that just the form factor of Switch, although it's bigger, there's a sleeker. Like I'm starting to really look at Nintendo just differently. I'm beginning to really see them as like this hybrid of like they're the Apple of gaming and the Disney of gaming. Like
for real, like
the IP.
I would say the Apple comparison can go all the way back to the DS Lite when the first DS Lite came out. That was such an Apple looking product, and Likewise, guess who had the touchscreen first? It was Nintendo, and then Apple added that to their phones. So there's like a back and forth there too, to an extent.
Yeah, and so like I just think like considering all of these things, like the form factor and just the horsepower, like like one of the things that I was actually really critical of was the initial kind of previews coming out around Cyberpunk at first with the Switch. Because I was like, does everyone have short-term memory loss? Like, do we all forget that like Cyberpunk was unplayable?
Yeah, the PS4.
Project
Yeah.
Red had to, but everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, the Switch 2 version is running at 30 frames." I'm like, "Did you forget that this game wasn't running at 30 frames solid on the PS4, PS5, or anything?" Like I was like,
Yeah.
it was crazy to me that it was almost this barometer for like horsepower, and I'm like, everyone has forgotten how poorly or how long it took CD Projekt Red to actually correct, optimize the game for all of the systems that it was on. So the fact that like a 7-week build of this thing running on Switch was impressive to me, like on all accounts. And again, I'm not saying like
That's a lot on
oh,
CD Project Red and all the work they've done to
absolutely.
improve it, and that's not Nintendo matching the specs.
Yeah, they did.
necessarily.
Yeah, they did patch it a lot too. I mean, it was kind of broken all around. I think from the beginning. I mean, specifically on
great game. I
PS4,
love it.
but I mean, and it's cool that we're also getting all the stuff. We're getting all the stuff.
I bought it
the
for
Switch
$5
version.
brand new.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you bought
Yeah,
you bought the
remember
PS4
when
one, right? And got to upgrade it.
Yeah.
Jeremy did. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I'm interested in it. Like I said, I don't know if I want to pay a full 60 for it, but I watched some videos of the. They're putting up more stuff of the new games running on Switch 2 and all that, and yeah, I think it looks pretty good so far.
I'm
I
sorry.
will say two of my favorite things that I've played on the PS5 for just how well it handles those games in particular. I was a huge Elden Ring fan, and I was playing that on my PS4, and it was fine. It worked fine, but the difference with the load times just changed that game for me when I played it on the PS5. That just changed so much about grinding and traveling around and you know making a to-do list, and it just was so much less of a pain in the ass if you'd have to wait for things to load over and over again. So I mean, that's great. So there's one of them. The other one, Cyberpunk. Both of those are coming to Switch too. So
Yeah.
it is in a way almost like what is left on the PS5 for me that it's not going to be on the Switch too. Well, I haven't played the new Astrobot Adventure yet, so that's probably it. I mean,
there's some like for. I mean,
Baldur's Gate 3, I guess, but I think that'll come to Switch too.
yeah. I mean,
Especially with the
there's still
mouse functionality. There's no way.
there's still stuff for me that is not. Like I want Tekken 8 on Switch 2. I want Fatal Fury. City of Wolves on there. I want to see that fucking put a Clair Obscure on there. Like people are really talking about that game a lot. That's PS5 only. Like so. There is like a good amount of stuff that I do want to see still, but I mean, whatever. We'll get there. It's just starting, right? I feel like we'll see
It's just starting.
a lot of these
Listen,
coming over.
I am so one of the things that I'm really excited about is if Nintendo does a June Direct, right? Or even if they push it back to July or whatever the case, like I think we're gonna see a bunch of franchises that are gonna like I think we will see Clear Obscure. I think we will see Capcom port over like RE4, 2, 3, like all of the remakes.
Oh
I
yeah,
think I would not be surprised if Capcom surprises folks like with a Monster Hunter Wilds announcement, right? Like
Right.
because the funny thing about Capcom is like if you go back to like Switch 1, remember that Super Street Fighter 2 whatever edition was
Ultra.
meant to be
Yeah,
like this, the Ultra.
the Ultra
That
Street
was
Fighter.
sales
Yeah.
barometer. It was like, if this game succeeds, we will support the system. And this time around, they're like they've got skin in the game. They're like out the gate, we're coming out with
Mhm.
Street Fighter 6. So like the tenor of everything that's happening around the Switch 2 just feels a bit different. And I'm really excited. And the one thing I think that the Switch Direct missed, not because I'm even a fan, I think the internet would have broken if Activision or if Microsoft had showed off COD.
Oh,
If
yeah,
they
Call of
had
Duty.
COD,
Yeah.
it's game over. Like if people are like, we can play COD
It's
on
coming,
Switch,
as they said.
I mean, it's supposed to legally, right?
It's supposed to, yeah. Right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't play those games, but I mean, but I know a lot of people do. So
and that's the thing. It's the to me, those games are casual games. Like,
sure, yeah.
in the sense that, like, I look like those, and let me not say that because I'm not trying to like pit like a us versus them thing, but I think that there are still
Filthy casuals.
certain types of gamers. Yeah, like there are certain gamers that will only buy a single game a year or like a handful of games. And it'll be like a Madden or a 2K and a COD, and that's all they play.
Yeah.
And I think when people actually see those things running on Switch 2 and it's comparable to whatever they would play at home, I think Nintendo really hits a home run.
I hope so. Why don't we should take a break and then we'll come back and talk about more about Switch and John's chair and everything and all that. So be right back.
Quick break.
Cool.
Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
With NintenDomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that NintenDomain ever made.
Here we go!
And it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting NintenDomain.
Just go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast and hey, Mario, let go. Whoa! He's throwing us back to the show.
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
Game over.
Hey, we're back from the break. Hey, John, why don't you talk about what you've been doing for the week?
Sure. Well, just today I changed my icon on the Switch for the first time in a couple of
I
years.
saw that. It's you got a fucking Rumble pack on there. What's up with that?
Well, I was excited because they announced that they put out a whole slew
ditching
of
Ganon, ditching old man or whatever it is, sexy Ganon.
Sexy Ganon. Yeah, he's out. Well, today they announced that they.
Rumble.
Well, Sam, I'm ready to rumble. That's what I went with because
Gotcha.
I'm ready to rumble for the new console. I'm ready to go.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it was cool that they announced a whole bunch of new icons that are based on actual like systems and hardware. So this is kind of like unique and exciting. And when I went to check out what they were there, what was on there, it's not just like the usual suspects either. There's like some obscure hardware. Like there's at least one or two where I was like, what is that? I had to like think and remember, have I ever seen that before? So that's kind of cool. And they're releasing these in batches over the next 3 weeks. Right now it's N64 and NES.
Do you buy these with platinum points?
You do, yeah.
Okay.
I got a whopping 300 platinum points for my birthday from Nintendo. So
very
thanks.
nice.
I mean, they don't give me shit. It's like I miss the days when at least when you could get a discount off of like older system games, where you get a discount off of like Wii and 3DS games or whatever. But yeah, now it's like 50% off of the whatever of the physical games of the physical store, and I'm like, I don't really want anything there, The only thing I kind of wanted was the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 coasters, but I have to buy those with platinum points. Like I can't even just spend money on it and get a 15% off on that. It's like whatever. But yeah, I got my regular Nintendo email that's like, here's your 300 platinum points, and I'm like, thanks.
I've never gotten any sort of birthday stuff from Nintendo, so
it does. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. But I did get some birthday stuff from John, so thanks for that.
No problem.
You threw me some eShop money, which I'm going to use on Onimusha 2 when it comes out later this week. So
nice.
So I had a lot of fun with Onimusha 1, so I'm going to play that. And I love playing PlayStation 2 GameCube games on my Switch. So
you really do.
I do, and that's a PS2 game. So
you feel like 2004 was some kind of special year or something.
2002. It's 2002 that I said was the best year in gaming. At least for me, it was. But yeah.
Well, related to these icons, actually, some fans are thinking that one of them was kind of a hint, and I'm honestly inclined to agree. One of the icons that's going to come up, I think it's next week, among the Super Nintendo icons is the Super Nintendo mouse. So why are we including a Super Nintendo mouse image on the Switch 2 hardware, which is capable of mouse controls? I don't know. Could it be that Mario Paint is coming up around the corner? That's what folks are thinking. I think that's the case.
I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, I think.
And just the old game on Switch Online would still be a lot.
Yeah,
that'd be fine.
Throw it on the Super Nintendo app there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of us who, I did say previously that I think Nintendo's going to release an official like ergonomic proper mouse for the Switch 2. I don't know if that's going to be the case anymore, because I think that would kind of run contrary to their argument that you can use the Joy-Con as a mouse. I think that there will be a third-party solution that's going to have like an attachment you can put on your Joy-Con to make it more ergonomic if you want to, or whatever.
I've seen people doing like 3D printed stuff of it. I mean, you just need just make it a little bit wider, so it's a little bit easier.
Just a little shell.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's own like in-house solution will also be a convenient, retro throwback in the form of a Super Nintendo mouse available through NSO. I think that's a perfect solution for them, where they can release a proper mouse without having to admit that these Joy-Con are not like really going to be great for long-term use on your hands. So I think that's they're onto something with this hint. This being a hint, I think the icon included on the new updates.
What do you hold on one second? What do you think about the mouse thing, Shake? I mean, are you into mouse controls on Switch 2 or what?
I think that it is. I think it's great, and I think that is, if anything, what really makes it the Steam Deck competitor, right? I think when it comes to FPSs and folks who are legitimate PC gamers, I think that's going to be the game changer. Like, I think that they've definitely fumbled a lot when it comes to the communication and the rollout. But I think the right, like when they connect the right threads around what the system does with the audiences, I think people are going to be like, holy shit. Like if they do COD and they show it off with pointer control, like people who play FPSs are going to lose their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that there's an opportunity, even with a game like Civ 7, to really lean into, just the mouse component and what you can do. Like, I'm surprised that Miyamoto hasn't said like all of the Pikmin games are getting You know what I'm saying? Like the free update so that you can use the mouse and just have
Yeah, they're all on there too. I mean, well, they were
yeah.
already on Switch, so make it happen.
You know, like like even with game chat, say what you will about game chat, I don't think that I'm going to be doing the video chat, but the fact that it's like embedded in the system and you'll be able like to play a Switch game, like we play fucking AEW, which is a shitty game, but the fact that we'll be able to natively like just chat to each other while playing the game because I'm like, that's actually kind of awesome.
I mean, I want to. I do want to. I mean, I'm interested to be able to watch what other people are playing, but as you saw, it's not going to look that great. But I mean, I still want to try it out just so we can all look at what what we're doing or whatnot. But yeah, no, I just wanted to ask you about the mouse thing before I forgot about it. But yeah, Doug, continue on, John.
Sure. So otherwise, this week I got my chair, which I'm going to be using for camping out for the Switch 2.
But a special camping chair.
I did
It's a
nice
nice
special
chair.
camp. Yeah, I agree. It was only $55 on Amazon, and they call it a zero gravity chair, which is a term I hadn't heard until I saw this chair. But you can, lean back and it's a nice reclining chair. You can put it down flat if you want to. And I think it's like a surprisingly good build quality for $55. And it's actually large enough too, which is the another main selling point.
At this point, you've test sat.
I've tested that. Yeah, I have.
You've like leaned back and you've checked out the mechanisms and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I would hope so.
Oh, yeah.
If you got it, you got to open it and get into it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm asking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I put it through its paces. Yep. And then come 2 weeks from wow, we're coming up on.
We're getting close. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
right now,
very
this
close.
is it. This is actually it. We're from basically this moment. 2 weeks on is going to be the release from this time. So I will get to know this chair very well in about 13 days. Yeah, so I'm confident I'll be comfortable in this chair. I'm going to get my I'm thinking about stuff I'm going to pack up for entertaining myself for the day. Of course, I'm going to bring the Switch. I'm going to bring.
Oh, so you're going to finally break the seal and play the Switch, since John's been on a hunger strike or something for Switch 2. Haven't played it for like a month.
A little bit, yeah. I'm gonna bring Reggie's book, which I bought a long time ago but never read.
Yeah,
so
you bought.
Read that in a day.
Yeah, you bought that for me too, and I have not cracked it, but I do have it here somewhere.
Yeah,
and I think it's upstairs in Jess's office.
I'm gonna get a cooler. I'm gonna borrow a cooler from my sister and just pack a bunch of food and get comfy in that chair right there and sit out in front of Best Buy.
Are you thinking about bringing
fill it with some Sonic themed Red Bulls or I don't know,
ready
some
to go
sort
snacks,
of video game?
or are you going to be making some sandwiches ahead of time?
I'll make sandwiches. Yeah,
Super Mario Brothers
actual
fun
good
foods.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to think of food that's gonna actually keep me awake versus make me sluggish and all that. So, yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, Mountain Dew sandwiches for sure.
Well, then the other thing I got this week was I found a gumball machine just sitting on a corner, like somebody was throwing it away.
You and finding these kinds of things, I don't know how.
Yeah, I swear you had one
really
before.
Stupid good luck.
You had
got
one
some
before,
kind
didn't
of,
you?
Knack for.
I did.
I remember you having either that or just people in Detroit. They just leave shit around everywhere, apparently, in Michigan.
So this is the second gumball machine that I found and took home in my life. Trey's referring to back in college when I was at the dorms and I worked at the Burnham Theater downtown, the movie theater. We were just this is it was a large movie theater downtown with lots of creepy rooms and places that people hadn't been in a long time. We were exploring back in one of these creepy rooms.
Didn't you have a knife behind the register?
Yeah, we kept a knife behind. So that's a whole story.
Just to I don't know, to fight off people or whatever.
On the day that I got hired there. Wasn't
like a mafia front or something like that.
There's all of that's
place?
true.
Yeah,
you'd write a book about this place.
Yeah,
I got the tour of the place, and they took me. Oh, here's the concession stand, and here's the knife we keep behind the concession stand just in case.
Yeah,
just in case what? Just in case we need to use it.
Somebody rushes you for popcorn or something. Yeah,
we keep knives at my job too.
Yeah, just in case people make their way back to the kitchen.
Just in case people want their vegetables chopped.
Right. Yeah.
I would hope so.
So in this crazy place was a room just that hadn't been touched in years. I mean, cobwebs and all that, just filled with like old vending machines, gumball machines, and candy machines, and all different kinds of stuff that you might expect to find at a movie theater. But it had been sitting there since like, I don't know, this stuff was from the 80s, like early 80s. And so we asked the owner, like, hey, what do you want to do with this stuff? I don't know. You can take it if you want. Cool, I'll take it all, So I called up some people from the dorms, like, hey, do you want like gumball? Come help me out. Come take this stuff, And so I gave away a couple of them. A couple of them were like those big hefty ones that were had like multiple compartments, like the kind of thing where, over here you get some good and plenties, over here you get some nerds or whatever. Yeah.
The kind that are like the entrance of a mall.
At the entrance to a mall, yeah. And these are like heavy, like cast iron things and all that. Mm-hmm. And then the one thing that I took home was the gumball machine, which was about 5 feet tall and had had the large gumballs, like the ones that were like an inch and a quarter or something like that, and then would like roll around down the track.
Cool.
Yeah, it was like really cool gumball machine. So I had this thing for a long time, and when I moved to California, I ended up giving it away because I wasn't able to fit it in the minivan that I was driving in, so I gave it away. But yeah, on Sunday, I was walking home from church, and there it is on the corner, on the curb, just sitting there, gumball machine. It's not as nice as the one as the one that I had years ago. I ended up looking it up and actually found it on Amazon. It's like if you type gumball machine on Amazon, it's the first one that comes up. But it's about $100 or so, and it's.
So you think this was like a consumer grade?
It's a consumer grade thing for sure. Yeah, it's made to look old. It's made to look old timey, and it
looks cool.
It is like metal and all that, so it's not chintzy or cheap looking, but it is a mass, consumer type product. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool, and I'm thinking about what I want to put in there. I think I want to put like little capsules. Like you can get small cap. It is a smaller gumball machine. It's not one with that takes the large gumballs. So I think I want to put like little capsules, which I was able to find some that would fit in there, and just maybe put little tchotchkes in there, like little video game themed tchotchkes of some kind.
I'm a big fan of Super Balls.
Or Super Balls, I can mix it in there.
I would love a Super Ball machine. Just it's a gumball machine, but with Super Balls instead.
I could put a mix of things in there. That would be one. I don't want to put candy in there because I'm just
like bouncy balls. What do you mean? Yeah. Super balls?
Yeah, bouncy balls.
Little bouncy balls. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the terms of the youth nowadays. Let's see. Super balls.
If you guys ever find anything that's like could fit in a little, about the capsules that I found are about an inch or so. Something a little tiny, like a little tiny rubber game controller or something like that. Like I would throw those in there. I think that could be kind of cool. Yeah, that's my big find for the week.
It definitely fits your aesthetic in your game room from what you showed. I like it.
Yeah, it's coming together. It's starting to look a little bit like,
But you do know that's a dangerous weapon, as I said in the Slack, because those things kill Bubsy.
That's true. I only touch it with rubber. When I carry it home, I put on rubber gloves first just to be safe.
Everything goes Bubsy.
Especially gumball.
Even the fans.
Yeah, other than that, like I do have to dip out in about 10 minutes or so. So I kind of want but if there's like one thing that I want to talk about as far as news stuff this week.
Do you want to speed run a news thing? That's fine. I mean, you're normally our news person. I mean, if you listen to like when you dip out early, Jeremy and I are like, is there any news? I don't know, like nothing.
Yeah.
And then we don't say anything. But,
I get that's right. Yeah, I put a lot of stuff on the outline, but I know it's just like to help us like choose in the moment and
guides the conversation.
Yeah, it's not all meant to be there.
Yeah, I mean the big news thing, like I said, for me was Onimusha coming out at the end of the week and Fantasy Life coming out this week too. Like I thought that wasn't coming out until fucking October, but yeah, there it is. Finally, that game has been in development forever, and apparently there was some drama with the developers and whatnot too. So it's actually out now. It came out on Tuesday.
Nice.
And another PS2 game, the mobile Gundam Seed Battle Destiny, is coming out as well, which I'm interested in because it's another PS2 game, and I like Mobile Suit Gundam, the original and Zeta. But we'll see how that one is.
Well, this is actually two things. One of them is real quick though. One is that there's a rumor Red Dead Redemption 2 is very likely coming to Switch 2 later this year.
Oh, definitely.
As well as getting an upgrade on all the other fancier consoles and all that.
There was a rumor for Switch 1 too on that one, even though I don't think it would have ran very well. But it
would have been a cloud, I think.
I know, but there was a rumor that we reported on like a long time ago about that happening before Red Dead 1 came out, even. So
this is according to Game Reactor, who says that their source is close to Rockstar. There was also another site called NintenDuo, which corroborated the same information. This is absolutely a lock, especially with Rockstar delaying GTA 6. They need something to fill in the gap, and putting out Red Dead 2 on the Switch 2, as well as an upgrade on PS5. I mean, that's a no-brainer to me.
It's a fantastic.
I'll buy that. I'm absolutely going to buy that for sure, 100%.
I mean, you bought Red Dead 1. Well, I mean, both of you did. You got it too, Shake. I remember watching a video. I remember watching a video you did of it.
But the other thing that I want to talk about is a little bit more big picture, just take a step back. We all know this is a big moment for Nintendo because the console's coming out in 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys realize that within the span of 30 days, Nintendo is releasing a console, opening a new store, and opening a fucking theme park within 30 days?
Apparently,
is this the biggest 30-day stretch for Nintendo ever?
Right? I would say the store's already opened, right? The one in San Francisco.
San Francisco store, but it's the 30-day span John's referring to.
Yeah. The store opened last week. The theme park in Florida opens tomorrow.
Right? Oh, tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow. Yeah. And then in 2 weeks, we're getting the Switch 2. Like, this is the most... I struggle to think of a bigger 30-day stretch in Nintendo history than those three things. Like, that's huge. Imagine telling your 8-year-old self that 1 month in 2025, Nintendo's going to open the store, a new console, and a theme park. You would think like Nintendo had taken over the world.
Theme park edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
John, what are you talking about? They're going third party, bro.
Oh, they're going third party. Yeah, that's true. They're failing.
I mean, they're going to put things out for Xbox Series Z. That'll be the next generation.
Yeah.
Everything's
Xbox
Nintendo,
is going to be the
remember?
champ. Yeah.
Yeah, Xbox Series Y.
It's back when your grandma and your mom called it a Nintendo, no matter what system it was. That's going to be true because they're going to be ubiquitous.
Yeah.
You can play it on your refrigerator or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It seems like, to me, the biggest... Nintendo's been talking a long time now about broadening their scope and becoming more of an entertainment company. I mean, if there's... if the Mario movie release was like the sort of kickoff of that, long-term plan, this is like the ramping it up. Let's fucking go. we're going. You know what I mean? Like... Wow, it's a pretty big moment for them.
And that's interesting too, because like you mentioned the movie, like that's not even part of this. Obviously, it's affiliation with the movie is why the park is happening, probably, or the addition to the park, I should say. But I mean, there's not even a movie involved here. This is just
the movie's next year.
They're a gigantic IP that's just kind of hovering on the horizon. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's doing well, and
they're doing
that's good for all of us, I hope.
Was that they're expecting like 15 million like through the end of the year on Switch 2 or something like that for sold systems?
Yeah, 100 million through 2029 is what one analyst said.
2029, man, I don't even know. I haven't even thought like 2029. What even is that? That's way in the future.
That's a Blade Runner year or something.
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, Blade Runner already happened.
Oh.
I mean, original Blade Runner. I think that was
2029 is when we have the next stock market crash because it's a 100-year anniversary.
I think we have. I mean,
that's right.
Didn't we?
We're going to celebrate by crashing the market again.
I would say, hasn't it? Didn't it like just crash?
Yeah.
Right.
That was an artificial crash. That was very well orchestrated for people to win on the downside. But I won't get into conspiracy theories. However,
insider trading, right?
Exactly, right. Yeah. But one of gaming conspiracy theories that I think Nintendo, referencing just like the healthiness that John was referring to, I actually think that we're going to see the Mario game coincide with the release of the film. I think we're going to see the reveal.
Well, we got Wonder. Yeah, I mean, good chance, right?
Yeah, but I
do you think it's going to be
you mean the 3D? You mean the next like 3D one?
Yes, the next 3D Mario game is going to coincide with the Switch. Well, with the film, especially considering that it's the tentative title is the working title of Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as Chris Pratt is not the voice of Mario in there. I mean, I don't want that. I actually was kind of wondering about that because speaking of wondering, because because they showed all the games that they're giving updates to, they're giving free updates to, and a lot of people have been talking about that or videos on YouTube about it. But there's one missing, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Like no update on that. So
That was a little curious, yeah.
So no free update on Wonder. Like made me wonder like if there was going to be another one. And maybe they do have. I mean, I thought maybe there'd be another 2D or thing or something that would go with the movie, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, we got our Odyssey update, but not Wonder. Yeah. So why not Wonder?
I don't know. I mean, they got to save something for the 40th anniversary, which is coming up in September.
Yeah,
as well.
I guess.
So they're gonna do some stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I figured they're going to do the release, like Shake was saying earlier, like we'll probably get some sort of June Direct, or we'll at least see more stuff at like Summer's Game Fest or whatever. It's like the fake E3 is happening. We'll see. I feel like we'll see more announcements for Switch 2, once it's out. And they may do like their regular, like non-E3.
They're going to
E3
Gamescom
Direct
too.
or whatever.
That was another news item. They're going to Gamescom.
Be a full like Donkey Kong Direct.
Apparently they're going to be at the IGN Live thing too.
Or
whatever.
That
So
just recently got added.
Yeah, so I mean, they're
we could. Jeremy's right. I think we're going to get like a 15-minute Donkey Kong expose or whatever. Yeah.
I mean that's the park that just opened. It's not quite as coincided, but Donkey Kong Land or whatever it's called, Donkey Kong Country, is being released somewhat close to the game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it coincides with the the redesign being consistent with the movie and stuff.
I think all of that stuff plays into the movie as well. I feel like they're like making a very concerted effort to like do the redesign of these characters to like ramp up for the film. And you're gonna hear it here first. I think 40th anniversary is gonna be the 35th anniversary game with Super Mario Galaxy 2. That's the upgrade for Switch 2.
Now with mouse controls. Wow. Now you can control Yoshi with mouse controls.
There you go.
And maybe you can beat that fucking stupid ass really hard level at the end that I can never beat. The one where you have to go through without getting hit once.
I'd say they've definitely been resting on their laurels with the Galaxy 2.
I could go. I mean, I like Galaxy 2 a lot. So
I do too.
And by the way, Blade Runner was 2019. That was when it took place.
There was what was the second one? Was it at 2029 or I forget?
Well, it was 2049 because it was 30 years in the future. Oh, yeah. But the original Blade Runner has we've surpassed it because it took place in 2019. I'm just saying I knew that the 1982 Blade Runner was in the past to us.
All right. Well, my presence on this podcast is also in the past.
Is that it for whatever you have for what you want to say about news? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's about it for me. I got to take off, guys.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Obviously, I did want to say as far as news stuff goes, 8BitDo is doing their own leverless controller, so that's pretty cool.
Right. I saw there was a teaser and they like showed like the shape of the box or something like that, but they wouldn't say what it was like the day before, and everybody was like, "That's a leverless, definitely a leverless."
Yeah, not selling it to America though.
Right, tariffs.
I mean, well, I was looking at
as of now.
I mean, I was like, oh no, that looks cool. I mean, I mean, like I said, I talk about it all the time on the show, but I really like my leverless just because you can easily switch it from system to system. Like, that's what's so great about it. You just plug it in and press a different button, and you can switch it to PS3 or PS4 or 5 or Switch, and it works for everything, and that's kind of why I got it. So I'm not really in the market to get a different one, but the 8BitDo one does look really cool. But another thing that was on the news that I said at the very beginning that we didn't get to talk about yet was that Killer Instinct Gold was added to the Nintendo 64 app. And you were saying earlier, Shake, that you've been able to play the 64 stuff. So how is KI Gold going for you?
I love that game, and it holds a really sentimental place in my heart. Like My sister, like we lost our mom. I was 16 at the time, and that Christmas she ended up getting me an N64. And at that time I had already sold like my Super Nintendo to my
Sorry.
cousin, all my games, like all the things, like thanks. But like I remember like that was the second game I got, and that's all I played. Like that Christmas, it was Mario 64 and like shortly after just Killer Instinct, and I played that into the ground. So the minute it launched, I hit Trey and I was like, this is the greatest game. This is the greatest day in fighting games on Nintendo because we get Killer Instinct
Right.
done within an hour. We're gonna get the Capcom Fighting Collection too.
That was when I heard about it was from you actually. You broke the news to me because I did not know. I did not know the KI Gold was on there. I mean, I figured it was coming. And I used to play. I played a lot of Killer Instinct, and let me tell you, I am not good at it at all anymore. I tried. I jumped on KI Gold a little
It's
bit,
those
and
combos.
I'm like, I suck at this fucking game. I used to
It's all
play this
about
shit.
combos.
I used to play this shit like crazy. I mean, this came out when I was in high school, and I played it like every day before I went to school or whatever. And I'm just like, I just can't do it anymore. But I did like the game a lot. I mean, yeah, it was an early like a launch window release for
I mean, it's a game.
for 64.
From what I remember, I only played the Super Nintendo one. Like, I played it a lot, I guess. Borrowed it from a friend and played it for a while. And I had another friend that we would play it sometimes. But this is the first time I've played Gold, and yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need to use the N64 controller. That would help. But I do
I don't
remember
know,
the Super
yeah.
Nintendo one. That was like you could like the combos was what it was all about, and like people at
Yeah.
school were talking about the combos and how to do the combos,
Yeah.
and like I think there was actually like a training mode you could go into where you could like learn the combos and stuff. So
I'm sure.
it kind of seems like a game that requires some study. Maybe I guess most fighting games are like that, but
Well,
you can't just go in and mash buttons. You actually have to sort of know what's going on in these
yeah,
games.
there were like levels, right? There was like because
Mhm.
you had like combo starters and like enders, and you had to put like stuff in the
Mhm.
middle, and there was
Combo breaker.
well, it kind of, but it used the same like stuff from like Street Fighter. We have like the light, medium, heavy, but you had to work that into the combos, right? As how you would put
Yeah.
it together and whatnot. For me, the big thing because you had Killer Instinct on Super Nintendo, which looked okay, but KI Gold actually kind of looked like Killer Instinct 2, the arcade game, and I thought that was a really big deal at the time.
Yep.
It wasn't like maybe exactly the same, but it looked pretty close, and that was a big. I was like, oh
It's
yeah.
kinda
I was
like-
like, yeah, no, that looks like the fucking.
It's kind of like
arcade.
1.5, right? Would you say, like, from what I've played of it so far, like it feels so much like the first one, like just a little upgraded.
Yeah, I mean, but
graphically.
KI Gold actually looks like. So if you take the Killer Instinct arcade game, the first one, and the Super Nintendo one, they're very different. But if you have
Right.
like Killer Instinct 2, the arcade game, and Killer Instinct Gold on 64, they're very close. So
Okay.
that was a big deal. It's like
I see what you
because
mean.
like in Killer Instinct the arcade game, you had you had like the commercials on there for like Ultra 64 and all this shit. Like before it was even out. So I mean, for me, it was like
Well, that was the board.
the comparison, yeah, like that they could actually make it look like you could have the camera movements and all that with it around the 3D environments and whatnot, and yeah, it was cool.
It's such a good game, and like to your point, like I was Jeremy, I was messing around and like I forgot, like I remembered some things about the game, but it's like you kind of combo based on like the descending strength of a move. So like
Mhm.
like your chaining attacks, like you'll go from fierce to medium, and that will do like an extra 2 hit string, and then you do like a special to connect it, and then you can start the chain all over again. And it's like it's so it kind of took what Street Fighter, because remember, like combos were not an intended thing in Street Fighter at all.
Yeah.
Not
Those are,
that
Like
much for sure.
juggling and
Def-
stuff, especially.
Well, definitely not at the level of Killer Instinct. I mean, yeah,
Originally, it wasn't until Turbo or Super Street Fighter that they included the combo counter because it like it was a fan thing. Like it was the fans that kind of discovered that you can chain the moves together, and it would kind of uh essentially like break the animation a bit. But when Capcom developed the game, it was never like we're designing this game with combos in mind. It just became such a popular component of it that it was like they leaned into it over time. But Killer Instinct, because like that this whole fighting game combo thing became such a huge phenomenon for like fighting game purists, they leaned all the way into it and just built it into the system of the game. And I love the game for it because it was a little bit simpler than Street Fighter. Like if you had trouble like pulling off combos in Street Fighter, I felt like spend a little time in Killer Instinct and you'll be able to get it. But it's such a good game. Like I was down a nostalgia trip the minute I was like, oh my gosh, this is everything right now.
I have to find it because oh fuck, I should have looked for it. I actually have a painting that I did in high school. I have a Killer Instinct painting that I did in my art class, so I was that much into it. It was I think it's what's the beefy like Conan looking guy? It's like that guy in Spinal.
Yes.
It was like it was based off of one of like the original like posters for it, and I did paint a Killer Instinct painting. It's around somewhere. It's probably my poster box in the other room. But yeah, I was a big fan of Killer Instinct. But,
I will say, like, I didn't play Gold much. Like, I just loaded it up a little bit tonight so I could say I played it pretty much. But I boot up as Orchid, who was the one that I could always like do the combos with. 'Cause they were the easiest up down. I think it was a lot of up down stuff, and I couldn't do. By the way, I couldn't do that when I played this, but I remember doing that back in the day. So I forgot how cool like the music for her stage is because she's supposed to be like a pop star or something, right?
Yeah.
There's this whole like pop song that's so out of time, but it's nostalgic for that reason, and also just really cool how like bad the audio quality is. Like, I love it.
Well, I was going to say,
cool.
I mean, don't forget. I mean, this is a rare game, and I thought that the soundtrack was fucking baller on both of these games. So, I mean, like I said, it's a rare game.
Yeah,
I think it's
great.
I think it's still like I don't know
Was
if
it Kirkhope?
it was to say I don't know if it was Grant Kirkhope or if it was or if it was David Wise or whatnot. But I mean, but regardless, like the soundtracks were fucking amazing. Like I love both those soundtracks, and yeah, Orchid had a really good jam for that one, and yeah, it's
got vocals.
Yep.
Yeah, and it had vocals in it, and like I mean, I don't know, I never played the Xbox version of it, but I loved those original games. Like, yeah, I was really into Cinder and Glacius. Actually, on Super Nintendo, Fulgore was my main. That was the one I played the most as was Fulgore.
Yeah, Fulgore was cool. That was
Spinal.
That was the one that was like only like 2 years old or something. It was like an AI machine or something.
Yeah, he was a machine, and I had fun with Spinal too because you could like change into other characters, but it was part of the combo.
Yes.
Which I always thought that was fun. It was sort of like a Shang Tsung type of thing. So I had fun doing those combos also.
And this game had fatalities, which was new for Nintendo.
It did, yeah, and it had humiliations too, right? Mm-hmm. At least the first one did. Yeah, I had the I had the soundtrack, the CD. Well, I think the CD came with the came with the Super Nintendo one, the Killer Cuts, which was it wasn't this. It was stuff from the arcade and not the Super Nintendo game, but but whatever.
Lame.
But anyway, it was part of the birth of my love for video game music and all that. But
I still remember. I think it was Donkey Kong Country 3 where there's like a Killer Instinct arcade.
Yeah. No, I think you see Killer Instinct at the Wrinkly Kong, right? At the
She's like, I bet you thought this was running on the Nintendo 64. No, this is a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah. There's little advertisements in there. I think you see him in the background too.
Killer Instinct, man, that's such a good game.
Yeah, was it Robin Beanland is on the credits here for the composer of Ki Gold. Robin Beanland was also, if you recognize that name, they were also on the Conker's Bad Fur Day game. Okay, and I know that from the Great Mighty Pooh song, from that being a credit on there for that.
Well, that's a fantastic song.
Yeah. And yeah, it was Graham Norgate's on the first one. It's on Killer Instinct 1. So I figured there'd be, and Robin Beanland as well. So I figured there'd be some names on there that I recognized. But yeah, no, excellent soundtracks for both of those, and I should put that somewhere on this episode.
Do it.
But we haven't talked at all about your plights on Blueprints. Jeremy. So
Sure, yeah, I can talk about
you have
it.
not. You've waited like a full 2 hours to say your stuff. So let's.
It's okay.
Sorry, we've been kind of all over the place, but I wanted to try to. I want to make sure
That's fine.
everybody got their time to say stuff, except for you. You're at the end. No.
It's okay. What I have to say is, I mean, it's important, but it's not, because it only affects people that play the PS5 version of Blueprints. But I guess there's this game-breaking bug in it, essentially, and I didn't know. I thought I did something wrong at first. Cause, well, if you remember last week, I said,
You had beaten it last week, right? That's when
right,
you,
I had
yeah,
finished it,
you
so I
just
have
got through
seen
it?
credits, but the game doesn't know that, and that's the thing. On last week's show, I said I beat it, and then I wanted to keep going, solve more mysteries, and I had to go do some puzzles again. I thought that was a game design thing. It's not. What happened was my save file reset to an earlier state, and I didn't realize that at first, but throughout the week I was like, oh, wait a minute. It definitely went back, because now when I go back, like, these puzzles remain solved or whatever. So I was like, okay, maybe here's what I thought happened. We had a power outage this week as well. I thought maybe I had just never like properly saved. Even though you save at the end of every day, I thought maybe I did something wrong where I hit the wrong button multiple times or whatever. I was putting all the blame on myself just for not being like a diligent saver. So when I finally was like, I lost all this progress, I kind of wanted to give up, but then I was like, no, I'm going back. And it was back to 149 again, which is my name was like Groundhog Day 149. It keeps reverting back to day 149, no matter what I do, including when I deleted my save file because I was so frustrated. I was like, I'm just going to start over again. I was going to throw 60 hours of gameplay down the tube and just start over again, knowing what I know now. Like, I figured I could get through it quicker. I got close to 20 days, saved it, went to bed, got up the next day, and, did whatever. And then when I turned the game on again, it was back at 149. My file had resurrected from the dead and replaced the new save file.
Oh, wow. That's something I've never actually. I don't think I've ever seen that happen to me ever, where you delete the file even, and then your own file like comes back, and it's like, no, you were stuck in this forever hellscape or whatever.
And that's pretty much it. It's Groundhog Day, room 149, and I don't think it's directly, as far as I know, it's not directly attached to where you are in the game when it happens, but somewhere between day 50 and day 150, there's this glitch that happens where it just basically stops saving and then reloads your, whatever version of your save it had whenever the glitch happened. And so there's like this post-game stuff that I've been doing where it was fairly hard. I had to go around and find these extra special keys and take to this special place. And I assumed it was saying these are permanent additions. So I'm like, okay, I'm making progress. I made a point to save and quit. Like, I didn't just save and continue. I saved and quit, closed down the app, reloaded it, made sure that my saves were persistent. And they were for several days. And I got all the way up to like day 180 something. And then I loaded up the game yesterday, and it was back at day 149.
Oh my God.
Everything I had done was gone. It was just gone. It was like everything that I had done after that point just never existed. And it's a glitch, and I've read a couple of articles about it. But it's something that supposedly they're going to fix soon. Supposedly they figured out what causes it. But part of what causes it is having your save file linked to your PS5 username, which why wouldn't it be? I mean, it has to be. But that in itself is the problem, because
the cloud backups and all
there's
that.
some sort of thing with the way Sony is. And this is from one of the articles I read, where I don't know, they've got some certain conditions for when you can save and how you can save and backup stuff that isn't compatible with the programming in the game. And so they have to fix it. But as far as I know, I've lost that progress. That progress is just gone. And I can't even, like I said, I can't even restart the game because it's just going to revert back to this broken version that I don't want to play anymore.
Wow.
So I'm done with this game.
So what do you do? I mean,
hope
for
Switch 2. Well, either they're going to do a fix.
Hope for the Switch 2 release, which I feel it's good. I mean, it was an indie game, I said it. I think I said it last week too. But I feel like maybe they didn't have the development kits or whatever, so they couldn't get it out yet. So
I don't
think,
know.
I think
mean,
we'll
it's
see
it's a small team.
Yeah, it's like one person, right?
I don't know how they got that. Supposedly, I don't know how they got that deal where it was both on Game Pass and PS Plus. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But because of that, all these people are playing it, and that's of course when the bug's gonna happen. And I saw that there were bugs, but I didn't think it was gonna happen to me, and I didn't even want to believe it. I thought it was all my fault. So I literally thought what's going on with what's going on? Am I losing my mind? Why is this save file that I deleted the only thing I can select right now? This makes no sense.
Yeah, that would drive me nuts. Like,
I'm happy I beat the game. It could have been worse.
I mean, we have it recorded. Last week you said
Yeah.
you beat it, so that means it's in
also
stone
have,
or whatever, right?
Video I've posted, like I've got it on Blue Sky and everything where the credits roll. And to be fair, like day 149 was where I was about to beat it, so I can just beat it. Just beat it. No, but I can, and it's just eventually going to go back to 149. So it's like I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm sad because I love this game and I would play it every day.
Yeah,
still,
you were big,
and I actually
big
still
fan of it.
have been playing it. But yeah, either they've got to come out with this patch sooner than later, I hope, or it's going to be something I play on a different console eventually. And I'm all about it. Like I'm all about starting at the beginning because I know how the systems work and I know what I got to do, and I can catch up to where I'm at pretty quick, I think. Yeah. And also there's some randomized events on how things get upgraded, so I'll get to see different elements of the game I didn't get to see before, and that's fine with me. I'm really sad that I just basically have to say goodbye to this game for now because I'm only wasting time by continuing to play it. Literally wasting my own time because I got up to day 170 something multiple times.
I would be so. I mean,
and there's these 8 secret rooms you have to unlock, and I had unlocked 3 of the 8, and I knew where the next one was, and I was on my way to get it, and then the next day it had reverted, and I was so pissed.
I know, and anybody who listens to this show knows how angry I get about wasted time in games, but I would be so angry about this. Like especially if you put so much time into it, and then nothing has progressed, and you come back and I would have been like. I would have just been like, fuck
people
this.
Are literally colloquially calling it the Groundhog Day glitch because, I just assumed I did something wrong.
Maybe you need to become a better person, and you need to stop trying to sleep with Andy McDowell or whatever.
I mean, I've had dreams about
you have to become
this game. This game is so compatible with the way my dreams work that it's I feel like it's a game made for me, and I'm so sad I have to stop playing it. But I have to because every minute I put into that game is going to get erased, and I just know it.
Just delete it or whatever.
So that's sad, but whatever. It's the game that I like, and I was really just kind of hoping I could just keep playing it until the Switch 2 released, because right now, I guess the next thing I'm going to play is something I bought this week, which is...
I mean, you did buy a game. I saw you on there.
I did buy a game. Right? I bought Thank Goodness You're Here.
Yeah, John was a big pusher of that game.
And played it at the bachelor party. I think it came out that day or the day before or something. And John was playing it at the bachelor party. We were watching him play it, and it was just he
picked it up when he was at my house.
It's such a fun game to watch. It's just playing it is fun enough, but watching someone else play it is almost as cool. And Shauna was sitting down when I started playing it, and she's just she was working on something on her computer, and she looks up. She's like, "What the fuck is this? Is this a game?" And it's showing old footage of double-decker trains going through London, and it's the film grain effect and everything. And it's is this a video game or is this a documentary? What's going on here? But no, it's just such a cool game, and I've barely played any of it because I've been told I can only play it when Shauna's watching because she wants to experience it with me.
I mean, you can beat it in a couple hours, so
yeah. And I'm going to one of these nights, maybe a Friday or Saturday night when we're just chilling at home. That's what I'm going to do. That's good. Instead of watching a TV show right now, let's play this game because it's sort of like it's definitely a game that could work for co-op because none of the solutions seem obvious at first
Say,
to the puzzles.
go here, do this, whatever.
Exactly, or see what this person's going to say, what kind of weird shit they're going to say, and it's always going to be British as fuck, and it's going to be entertaining. Like, just like so Cockney. I love it.
I was curious. I mean, it was on sale, right, or something.
Yeah, it was on sale.
I mean, I was listening to Retronauts, whatever their monthly thing, where they were talking about it, and then I saw that you were playing, and I was like, well, I wonder if you listened to that episode or whatever.
I did not.
Because they were talking about it, and what was it? Yeah, they were saying that it was too British, but whatever. We had fun.
I don't know about too British. I mean, it's got a very
no. If you are British, I guess I don't know. No,
I'm sure John said the same thing, that it's like the most Monty Python game that ever existed. That's how I feel. Like it feels like you're playing an episode of Monty Python and the weirdness of it all.
Sure.
And the extremely, extremely proper British humor.
True. That's true. And you tried Sandland.
I was gonna say, the last thing I wanted to talk about was I played a little bit of Sandland just because it got added to PS Plus this week. And
I put it on Slack just because I saw it was added, but also it may be one of Akira Toriyama's last games, or at least
it is most likely the
last games that they used his art for or whatever. And I was always kind of curious
Dragon Quest 12 for sure, but
I actually saw some recent news that. Well, they're saying that Square Enix was saying that Dragon Quest 12 may not be out till, I don't know, 2029 or something ridiculous like that. It got really pushed. Well, Square Enix is kind of like, they're like
all we have is a title screen. That's
but Square Enix is kind of like they're remanaging everything to try to and apparently, they push, I guess, from what I heard from a Dragon Quest group that I'm on Facebook, they were saying that 12 got pushed, like, another 3 or 4 years or something like that.
So they can focus on Final Fantasy or something.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever because I know they dropped a bunch of shit and rearranged a bunch of shit or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. But Sandland, what do you think of it?
Well, it feels like a Dragon Quest game in the art. Not only the art, it's very cinematic at the beginning, and your demons. And that's like your main character is a demon called Beelzebub, and you've got a character called Slime. It's very Dragon Quest. All these supporting characters are just named like Slime or whatever their character would be. Their character model would be, and you're helping them out. You're in the desert and you're stealing water, kind of Robin Hood style, from a bunch of rich people. You're stealing bottles of water and delivering it to the poor, and that's sort of kind of what I gather of the game so far. A lot of it is about mounted combat. In the only battle I've done so far, I was riding a centaur who looked a lot like I don't know. Like I said, everything looks like a Dragon Quest character. Why? It's Toriyama, but the character designs are really cool, and I like it. The spot I'm on right now, like I said, I've only done the one battle. I've kind of gone through the opening cinematic and all that, and now I'm kind of in wherever the home base is for the demons, and it wants me to talk to everybody, so that's why I stopped. So it's got that RPG element of go talk to everybody and see what quests they want to give you. So it's definitely a quest-based kind of open world game, and it seems to rely heavily on mounted vehicular combat. But I've done some hand-to-hand combat as well with these very like I said, very Dragon Ball Z looking NPCs. That were supposed to just be like normal humans or whatever, just kind of like the way all their normal human characters in those games or in those shows are just like these absurd looking people. It's Akira Toriyama art. It's cool. I'll keep playing it. It's on PS Plus, so I'll play a little bit more of it this week, and I'll have a few more impressions, I'm sure, by next week. But if nothing else, it's a very pretty game. And it may be the closest thing to Dragon Quest we get to play right now, as far as a new Dragon Quest game, or even more as far as a new Toriyama IP. This is where it's at. So I haven't looked at reviews. I don't know much about what people think of it. I just played a little bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it came out kind of a while ago, but the people that I follow or the podcasts I listen to, or whatever, people were pretty positive on it. That's all I know. So I thought it would be worth checking out or whatnot.
Yeah.
As far as what I said about the release of Dragon Quest 12, So Square Enix said that they were doing a 3-year reboot, basically where they need to decide which games are the most important to release. So that's why people don't think that Dragon Quest 12 will be out until 2028, because that's 3 years from now. And Square Enix was saying quality over quantity, and they wanted to try to figure out what they need to put out. So that's basically people thinking that it's not going to be.
And they're probably focusing on whatever the next installment of the Final Fantasy VII remake is.
Sure, yeah. Well, we got Remake coming to Switch too also, and they did say that they wanted to try to bring, other stuff there, which maybe means Rebirth, I don't know. But whatever. But anyway, I do want to, we're kind of going a little, but I do want to close it out, as I said at the beginning of the episode. Our plan was that we were going to do a top 5 of each of our favorite genres every week before the Switch 2 comes out. And this week, because we've been talking a lot about fighting games and all that, I thought that I'd just talk about, 5 of my favorite games, and I want you to talk about yours as well, Shake, before we close out here. And I was just trying to look through all the stuff, and I figured for my list I'd just exclude the Capcom collections, because there's so many games in there, where it's I don't know, I just kind of go aside from that. But I guess my top 5 fighting games, I would say, let's see. So when I first got the Switch 1, Waku Waku 7 was a game that I played a lot. It was a weird fighting game that had a really, really fun character select screen song, before Take You for a Ride. Huh. That was one of those the Arcade Classics collection thing that showed up.
Is it an SNK game or?
Yeah, it's an SNK game, okay. I think. And speaking of SNK games, also Gero Mark of the Wolves was a game I had a lot of fun with in that first year of Switch launch. Let's say that's my number 5. Let's say number 3, just because I haven't played it enough, but it looks really gorgeous and it plays really well, is Guilty Gear Strive. That was really cool to see that on there, for sure. You still haven't gotten that one yet, have you, Shake?
I didn't pull the trigger on it just because I didn't know if anyone was going to have it.
I have it. I have it. No, I did. I did when I was at Jeremy's house last. I showed you some of it. It looks gorgeous. Mm-hmm. It looks really good. It loads really quickly on Switch 1, and it's fun as hell to play. I feel like there's a lot of really cool mechanics in there, and there's a shit ton of characters, and I think they've added 2 or 3 free DLC characters since I bought it, and it came out in January, so I think that's when I got it. But yeah, no, it's just it seems to be pretty easy to just get into, and it looks really nice, and I've seen comparisons with other systems, and it runs really well. I've been a big fan of Guilty Gear for a while, since back on the on the Dreamcast and all that. So I'd put that at 3, and I know a lot of people don't like this game, but I love this game. It was fun for me. And that's the other side, the other side of the coin, the SNK versus Capcom game, SVC Chaos, which I know people are on whatever on that, but I never played that game, and I had a fucking blast with it on Switch, and I played it a lot. I finally beat it. I played the arcade game at Jeremy's wedding party and all that, so. At the Galloping Ghost, and yeah, that was a good one. And I guess number 1 for me would be, the Mortal Kombat's, Mortal Kombat 11 and 1. I felt like they both had a pretty good presence on Switch and all that. And we already talked about Ultra Street Fighter 2. That was a good one, but I was kind of excluding the collections, and of course, King of Fighters 13 is really, really good too. And Rage of the Dragon Neo, the one that's the Double Dragon fighting game that was a sequel to the movie, whenever that one was really, really cool too. But I just love that there's a shit ton of fighting games on Switch. Are there what are your favorites? What are your favorite fighting games?
I have thought about this very quickly. And by the way, speaking of Double Dragon, one of the things that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of, and I want to do a quick video on this, the Double Dragon Rise of the Gaiden got free DLC, 2 free DLC characters, and it's one of my favorite beat 'em ups. But in terms of fighting games, top 5 on Switch. Number 5, not often talked about, but very enjoyable. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid.
Yeah.
Got it as a game, and it is such a fun kind of Capcom-esque swap your character in and out game. Tons of fun with that one. I would say, ooh, this number 4 is going to be kind of tough. But I think number 4, I am going to go, and I'm going to kind of make my number 4 is actually aligned with Guilty Gear Strive. I'm going with Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Like, I love that game. It looks gorgeous on Switch. It is probably better than you expect it to be. And Arc System Works just knows what they're doing with the hardware, which is why I imagine Guilty Gear Strive plays so well. Oh no, that was number 4. That was number 4. So number 3, and I'm cheating because this is part of a collection.
You can do whatever you want. That's fine.
But I am going with MVC2. Like, I love that game to pieces. It is such a fun game. I can play that endlessly. I feel like there's new meta being discovered right now. Number 2, and this might be controversial because it's not a traditional fighting game, but I got to go with Smash.
Smash, yeah. I thought about putting that in the list. I thought about putting that in the list too, but I was like, that one's too easy. Let's go for the weird stuff.
Yeah. Ryu's in there, so there you go.
Yeah. Terry.
Ken too. Yeah, and Terry, and and the Tekken dude also. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
So I got to put Smash, and my number 1 is not even the entire collection, but I am such an old school gamer, and it defines so much of my adolescence. It is Street Fighter 2 Turbo from the Capcom from the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection.
Yeah, that collection is amazing too. Yeah.
Incredible, but I even more than Super Street Fighter 2, the new challengers are Super Turbo, just straight up turbo where it was faster and you could play with the bosses.
Mm-hmm.
I love that game.
Yeah.
That was the first Street Fighter 2 we owned.
Yeah, the Super Nintendo one, right? Well, Jeremy did. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I remember back in the day.
Well, we rented the original one, but then when we finally got one, my dad bought that one because he wanted to play the boss characters.
I remember back in the day of the Wii with the Virtual Console, like I bought all of them. It's like, all right, here's regular Street Fighter with none of the bosses. Here's Turbo. Here's Super Street Fighter, and I bought them every time. I mean, it was like $8 or whatever. So, but it was so much fun, like just buying them and just playing the shit out of it. And I got really good. I got really good on the controller on the retro controller at the time. At least just playing against the computer at like higher difficulties and all that. But yeah, no, I love those games. And yeah, that collection is really great. And what I always tell people, I mean, my favorite Street Fighter games are Alpha 3 and like Third Strike. And it was very cool to have those in that collection to be like, hey, and as you were talking about earlier about like incredible, like 2D pixel like art and animation, I still think like Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is like one of the best looking 2D art that you've seen like in any game. Like it looks fucking incredible. So yeah, that game fucking blew my mind. I think it was just I bought like the 20th anniversary PS2 game or something like that, and it was included on there. And that was the first time I played it, like years ago, and I was like, it just blew my fucking mind. I was like, holy shit, this looks so good. Like, this game looks so fucking good.
I dream of a beat 'em up that, like, of Capcom using that same engine and that art style for just a beat 'em up. Like give me Final Fight 4.
Oh, yeah.
And let it look like Street Fighter. like let it look like Third Strike.
Oh yeah, I would buy that shit on day one, 100%. Like, yeah, that would be very cool. Capcom, I know you listen to us, but no, seriously, yeah, no, get that happen. That would be so cool. And on your talking about Double Dragon Rise of the Dragon, I still haven't gotten it yet, but it's been on sale a lot, and I saw it when it's low is like $10. So I really need to get on that shit because I know you've talked it up a lot, and I know Joe liked it too. So I need to get on that, and I know they keep adding stuff to it as well. So just check it out.
It's the gift that keeps on giving when you get free DLC with these games. And you just don't expect it. Like you think the game is like done. They've already like added however many characters. Like what? In 2025, you've just decided to add 2 new characters.
Why not?
And I'm looking forward to the Marvel beat 'em up from the folks that did Shredder's Revenge.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to essentially include a gameplay mechanic that Double Dragon game does really well, which is the swap in and swap out,
Okay. Yeah.
So super excited about that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Shredder's Revenge is one of the best games.
Oh, one of the greatest. Like honestly, I think Shredder's Revenge is the greatest beat 'em up. Like
I think it wasn't my game of the year. It was like number 2, whatever year it came out.
I really like Streets of Rage 4.
I'm not even a beat 'em up person. So.
I mean, it's the same company, but I mean, I liked Shredder's Revenge as well. But I guess I thought Streets of Rage 4 had a little bit more mechanics in it, like versus Shredder's Revenge. But they're both very good games. But I mean, that company has been like on fire. So yeah, do a Marvel one. I mean, for me, it reminded me of the old. I mean, yeah, obviously there's the MVC stuff in there, but I was thinking of like the old Super Nintendo games, like Marvel War of the Gems or like X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. If you played any of those games, like the sprites look like the same, like the exact same as those old Capcom, like sort of a beat 'em up, but you did like Street Fighter style moves like that. I played the shit out of those when I was in high school and college, so I could tell. I was like, when I saw Captain America, I was like, that's the Captain America sprite from War of the Gems right there.
Definitely said it in the Slack.
I said it a lot on our Switch our Switch 2, whatever it's called, Switch 2 Direct episode also. So
yeah, no, it like that game. I'm excited about it, and it's gonna have like a 15 character roster, and they've only shown off like 4 or 5 characters so far. Like so, there's a lot. But it definitely, and it's funny that we're going from fighting games to beat 'em ups. Like if anything, I think that's what the Switch has done. Like, I'll say this because I haven't, been on a show in a while. Like, I love that the Switch, at least for me, was the system that kind of like gave life to genres that were legitimately dead. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, John would say that because John was a huge fan of the beat 'em ups, and we got a lot of great beat 'em up stuff on Switch, and also like point and clicks and FMVs or whatever got brought back, and they were bringing back a lot of the great stuff. And I mean, for me, like
RPGs,
being a big and a shit ton of RPGs
like,
too.
Legitimately top down 2D like RP, like the JRPG, like that's a thing again. Because of Switch,
and we got all these ones that were hard to find, like the Lunars and the Suikodens or whatever are all on there.
Moon is so good.
Yeah, but I mean a lot of these were really hard to find, and they're like or even like even the Capcom Fighting Collection, like some of those games were pretty expensive too. Like so, I mean, just having to bring.
And what's wonderful about Switch 2 is you got to bring it all forward.
Yeah. Could take it from one to another. I'm still trying to figure out my strategy of getting all my stuff from the Switch 1 to 2. I mean, if since John like isn't playing Switch 1 at all, he should just go to the future and just throw it all to the cloud now and just commit and be like, all right, because you can do that now in the last system update. You can throw all your stuff to Switch 2, whether you have one or not.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, you won't be able to play any of your stuff on Switch 1 anymore, but you can. It's on there. Oh. You can transfer your stuff to Switch 1 right now, as of the update. I mean, well, you won't have any of your saves. They'll be in the cloud, and you have to hope they'll go to the Switch too, but you can. You can do that.
I don't trust the clouds.
Yeah. I mean, I still got to figure out how to do the fucking Animal Crossing shit again.
I'll say this much. I've decided that with Switch 2, I am not going to instantly transfer everything over until the prices of the SD express cards go down a little bit.
Mm.
Because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, unless the game has a legitimate reason to be played on Switch too, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's getting an upgrade, so I'm gonna transfer over Echoes of Wisdom and all of that stuff and Odyssey and anything that's getting a free update, or maybe a game that I still play, like Monster Hunter, right? But like, other than that, I'm like, if there's no update, I'm like, I'll just wait until I get a higher capacity card because I don't want to get a 256 if I know that I really want like a 1 terabyte card.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling the same way. I mean, I was just gonna kind of do that with the refrigerator thing that Reggie would always say. Just download whatever you're gonna play at the moment and just kind of like, delete, reinstall, whatever.
I mean, especially being a portable hybrid, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say just try to get the stuff on there that I want to have, or like stuff I want to try out on the new system, whatever. Because I was gonna I thought about getting the 2 terabyte one, but you can't even find it anywhere. It's gone. So
and it's gonna be like $400, bro.
I think it's like, I thought it was 2, right, or like 180 or something like that for the not the 2 terabyte, the 1 terabyte.
Yeah, the 1 terabyte.
I mean, the 2 terabyte doesn't exist, right?
Well, I remember. Well, with Switch 1, I think there's a 2 terabyte card now.
Oh, I was to say, is there? I remember they said that was the limit, but I don't know if one ever actually came out.
I don't think it did.
But I mean, last I checked, I mean, yeah, like the 1 terabyte was like 180, but it was like, and I was like, well, if I got the money, I might do it. But yet, I was in the same boat as you, Shake. I didn't want to get the 256 to only use it for a minute and then get another one, So it was like, I figured I would just, if I could get the 2, or not the 2, if I get the 1 terabyte, then maybe. But I think I'm just going to just work with whatever's on the system and just kind of.
We also don't know yet how
shift
quick.
In and out whatever games
it might
I'm
download
playing.
Stuff really fast because of like the new like protocols and stuff. Like maybe, in the improved eShop, maybe we'll be able to like re-download software we deleted really fast.
Yeah. I figured I just whatever's like in the scope, whatever is the main thing I'm playing, I'll just try to work with that, So we'll see. But I think, I think we're good here for the episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Hell yeah!
For as long as you did, it's always a pleasure. Sorry we went on kind of long, but it's always fun. It's always fun to talk to you on here about various things.
I reside in the NintenDomain, while Nintendo is my main console.
Nice, yeah, and
that is our new tagline.
I'm very excited to see what you do on the YouTubes, and I definitely want to post more stuff, of us all playing multiplayer and all that, and I definitely want to. I figured that you would be one that we would be able to try out the game chat and all that once we get it and play Street Fighter 6 and all that. So I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we can do some sort of dual stream or something like that. But yeah, it'll be fun. But yeah, everybody in the meantime, check out Wagglefest on YouTube. Of course, I'll put a link to it on here on the details, so you can find it there and whatnot. And you can find us on youtube.com/NintenDomain podcast. Also, patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast. If you want to hear the podcast early, ad free, and all that fun stuff, and bonus content, just check that out there. And twitch.tv/NintenDomain podcast is where I stream, which I haven't done in a while because I've been busy. But hopefully we'll get that up there soon enough. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. And check out Wagglefest. And we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
And I'm Jeremy Kowski.
And a special guest,
Shake, a.k.a. Daigo Parry.
And thanks everybody for listening. See you next time.
See you.
I'm so stoked, man. Like we're 2 weeks away from like having Switches, yo.
Yeah.
We're almost there.